Chin Fan, I will hold on to your parents' $1 million federal in bereavement compensation on behalf of the school. I will return it to you once you enter university in the future. Inside the principal's office of Nanching No. 1 High School, a middle-aged man wearing tailored formal attire spoke with a gentle smile. Standing before him was a teenage boy in school uniform. Principal Chun, you said exactly the same thing half a month ago. Chin Fan's face was devoid of emotion. He clenched his right fist, then slowly uncurled his fingers. I need that money to buy skill books and equipment so I can level up inside dungeons. Otherwise, I won't qualify to take the National College entrance examination in half a month. At his words, Principal Chun maintained his amiable smile. He picked up his thermos and took a sip of steaming hot tea. Chin Fan, it's not that I refuse to give you the money. I'm just afraid you'll squander it. The funds will remain secured by the school, and you'll receive them once you gain admission to university. Of course, the money had already ended up in Principal Chin's own pocket, and he had no intention of giving it back. As an A-class warrior awakener above level 40, he wielded enough influence to control nearly everything within the small city of Nanching. Principal Chun, don't stall and beat around the bush. Chin Fan's tone turned icy. That compensation is the last thing your parents left me. You have no right to seize it. Return it to me immediately, or I will file a complaint against you with the Nanching Education Bureau. You should be fully aware that misappropriating bereavement compensation for martyrs is illegal. Even a high-level awakener like you cannot escape sanctions. Humph. Principal Chin's smile faded. He set down his thermos. What exactly are you threatening me with? Your mere level 1 status half a month after your class awakening, or your laughably weak F-rank talent. Besides, the funds are only temporarily deposited within the school account. I have not touched a cent. What grounds would you have? Anger burned inside Chin Fan, yet he could do nothing to vent it. Though furious, he retained his rationality. A level 40 awakener was far too powerful for a rookie level 1 mage like him to contend against. But he desperately needed that money to purchase equipment. Without it, he would lose any chance of passing the upcoming National College entrance exam. If he failed to get into university, that $1 million federal would undoubtedly stay in Principal Chin's pockets forever. This was not the first time he had pulled such a scheme. Similar incidents had occurred with previous batches of students. Without exception, every student who tried to appeal would vanish mysteriously from their homes the very next morning. Still, Chin Fan wanted to fight for his future, even knowing the odds of recovering the money were slim. Very well. I can give you 20,000 federal dollars so you can buy basic gear. You can then enter the school dungeons to farm monsters and raise your level. A mocking glint flashed in Principal Chin's eyes as he spoke in a soothing voice. 20,000 federal dollars was not even enough to buy a complete set of ordinary mage equipment. Coupled with Chin Fan's low-tier talent, no student at school was willing to team up with him for dungeon runs. That explained why his level remained stuck at level 1 after half a month. Solo dungeon runs were out of the question. Even the school's lowest-level dungeons could spawn level 10 monsters. Without teammates, as a frail mage armed only with his starting skills and no protective gear, Chin Fan would be defeated after only a few hits. He possessed no revival or damage, mitigating potions, or items. Death inside a dungeon meant permanent death. Principal Chun was actively plotting to get him killed. Chin Yid, I know full well that money is already in your private account. Your own nephew bragged about it in front of me, and the whole class heard every word. Silence instantly descended on the office after Chin Fan's outburst. The gentle smile vanished from Principal Chin's face, and a vicious light flickered in his eyes. Chin Fan, do not turn down a reasonable offer. I have tried to treat you fairly. Take these 20,000 federal dollars, and I will overlook everything that has happened today. Principal Chun pulled an envelope holding 20,000 federal dollars from his desk drawer and slammed it onto the table. He then picked up a student archive form. Furthermore, you are officially expelled from this school. Take your file, collect your belongings from the classroom, and leave. Chin Fan grabbed his student file and stared coldly at Principal Chun. I hope you will not regret the choice you have made today. He walked out of the office and slammed the door shut behind him. The warm smile on Chun Yud's face disappeared the instant Chin Fan left. Ungrateful brat. Chin Yud picked up his phone, typed out a message, and sent it to a private contact before making a call. Hello, Principal Chun. What can I do for you? I've sent you the details. Take care of the matter completely and leave no loose ends. Understood. The man on the other end of the line was a level 20 awakener. He had handled many of Chun Yud's dirty secrets over the years. After hanging up, Chin Yud sipped his tea. Mentors from elite academies in the capital are visiting for student recruitment soon. If that boy exposes what I've done, there's no telling what trouble it will bring. Therefore, he cannot be allowed to live. After leaving the principal's office, Chun Fan returned to Class 8, Senior Grade 3. Only a handful of students sat at their desks. Everyone else had formed teams to grind levels inside dungeons. Chun Fan sat down at his desk and pondered his next move. I have completely fallen out with Chen Yud today. He will not let me off easily. Reporting him is not feasible due to signal jammers within the school. A crushing sense of helplessness washed over him. News of his parents' sudden passing had struck him like a blade half a month prior. The very next day, his class awakening ceremony yielded the lowest possible F rank mage talent. Now, even his bereavement compensation had been embezzled by the corrupt principal. Chun Fan had no way forward. The path ahead looked endlessly dark. Attribute allocation system initializing just as Chun Fan sank into despair. A translucent data panel appeared before his eyes, visible to him alone. Attribute allocation system successfully loaded. Host gains 1 free attribute point every second. Plus 1 free attribute point, plus 1 free attribute point, plus 1 free attribute point. Lines of notifications rapidly popped up in front of Chun Fan. The system's function was simple. He earned 1 free attribute point each second, which he could allocate freely among his 4 core stats. This was something every awakener dreamed of possessing. While special potions and materials could boost attributes, they provided fixed stat increases. Dungeon clears could also reward attribute points, yet free attribute points were only granted for breaking official dungeon achievement records, making them extremely rare. Chun Fan's situation was entirely different. He gained 1 point every single second. Calculated over a full day, that amounted to 86,400 free attribute points. Chun Fan focused his mind, and his awakener's status panel materialized. Class: Mage, Talent: None, Level: 1, free attribute points, 60, Strength, 7, Agility, 3, Vitality, 4, Spirit, 9, Skill, Fireball LV. 1 and 0 tense. Watching the free attribute points rise non-stop, Chun Fan's fighting spirit reignited. System: Allocate points. Consumed 60 free attribute points. Vitality plus 60. It truly works to strengthen my stats, Chun Fan said excitedly. After the stat boost, Chun Fan's base vitality rose directly to 64. His HP climbed from the original 40 HP all the way to 640 HP, plus 1 free attribute point, plus 1 free attribute point, plus 1 free attribute point. In just over a minute, another 100 free attribute points accumulated on his status panel. Continue allocating points. Chun Fan paused, his gaze drifting down to the skill bar at the bottom. The only reliable ways to raise skill levels are using skill books, or repeatedly casting the skill over long periods. There was a third, wasteful alternative, spending free attribute points to directly level skills. Chun Fan's Fireball was the basic ability granted upon awakening as an F rank mage. As a beginner skill, Fireball's maximum level was LV.10. Leveling Fireball from LV.1 to max required 100 points. To all other awakeners, free attribute points were far too precious to waste on skills. They preferred investing all points into permanent core combat stats. Beginner skills would eventually become obsolete, so spending 100 points to upgrade one was seen as reckless squandering. For Chun Fan, who earned 1 attribute point each second, 100 points merely meant waiting 100 seconds. Allocate points to upgrade Fireball. Consumed 100 free attribute points. Fireball raised to LV.10 max. Fireball damage increased by 10%. Skill cooldown reduced to 0.5 seconds. No sooner had the 100 points been spent than another 100 points accumulated. The supply was endless. In one day, 86,400 points. Over 10 days, 864,000 points. In 15 days, nearly 1.3 million points. Even if Chun Fan never farmed monsters for experience, pure stat allocation alone would suffice. He would outmatch every student sitting the National College Entrance exam this year. Talented SSS, ranked geniuses usually only reached around level 10 after a month of grinding. Even with massive resource investment, only their primary stat would break 10,000. Chun Fan quickly gathered his belongings and checked the time. 8:30 a.m. Before midnight tonight, I can gain roughly 5,000 more free attribute points. But I must find a safe location to avoid retaliation from Chen Yud. Chun Fan refused to be eliminated before he could grow strong. Caution was essential. Once he gained enough power, Chen Yud would be his first target. After leaving school, Chun Fan stood by the roadside waiting for the bus. After careful consideration, he had formulated a plan. He would take public transit to Longhu Plaza in central Nanjing and remain there until nightfall to guarantee his safety. Though humanity lived in an era of universal class awakening, awakeners remained strictly regulated under federal law. Laws were loosely enforced inside dungeons, but killing within city limits carried severe punishment. As long as Chen Fan stayed in crowded, camera-covered public spaces, he doubted anyone would dare attack him openly. System: allocate points to vitality. While riding the bus toward Longhu Plaza, Chen Fan opened his panel and continuously poured newly acquired points into vitality, guarding against potential danger along the route. At 9 o'clock in the morning, bus route 147 pulled up at the stop outside Longhu Plaza. The rear door slid open. Chen Fan stepped off quickly, still assigning points to vitality as he walked. After 30 minutes of continuous allocation, Chen Fan's vitality surpassed 1,800. His HP rose to 18,000. With my health raised this high, I feel far more confident, Chen Fan said seriously. But it is still not enough. I will keep investing points into vitality. Chen Fan did not own any equipment at all. Normally, the school provided a basic white-tier set to every 18-year-old student. But Chen Fan's mage set had been confiscated on Chun Yud's orders. The principal intended to block his ability to farm monsters and suppress him completely. Chen Yud could never have imagined Chen Fan possessed such an overpowered ability. Chen Fan entered the shopping mall, walked into a beverage shop on the ground floor, ordered an $8 federal glass of lemon water, and took a seat in a quiet corner. He remained seated there until nearly 11:50 p.m. Two shop employees waiting to finish their shift glanced toward the boy in the corner and whispered to each other. Good grief. That high school student in the corner bought one lemonade at 9 this morning and hasn't left since. Is he ever going to head home? Exactly. We were supposed to close at 10:30, but we've had to stay late because of him. It's almost midnight. Does he plan to camp out here overnight? The boy in the corner appeared to be resting with his eyes closed, but he was actually adjusting his panel. Chen Fan's spirit stat had exceeded 3,000. He heard every word of the employee's quiet conversation. He did not react. He knew he was imposing, and he appreciated that they had not forced him to leave. Class: Mage, Talent: None, Level 1, Free Attribute Points, 91. Strength: 10007, Agility: 2003, Vitality: 40064, Spirit: 3009, Skill: Fireball LV.10 Max, 400,000 HP. Even if Chun Yud comes personally, he will need at least 3 or 4 full attacks to kill me. I also sense someone watching me outside the shop all day. It must be the hitman. On a reclining bench within Longhu Plaza sat an unshaven young man. His gaze remained fixed on the beverage shop inside the mall as he made a phone call. Chen Fan has stayed inside Longhu Plaza all day and hasn't gone anywhere. Chen Yud's low voice came through. Keep watching him. We cannot let that boy report me to the Education Bureau. Understood. The bearded man nodded. Speak later. The kid is finally coming out. Very well. After hanging up, the bearded man maintained a distance of roughly 200 meters and quietly tailed Chen Fan. Chen Fan noticed everything, yet acted as if unaware. He unlocked a shared bicycle near Longhu Plaza and rode north toward an abandoned factory 3 kilometers away. Only in isolated, empty locations would the assassin dare strike. Chen Fan wore no equipment, but bolstered by his immense base stats, he could flee if combat went poorly. More than 10 minutes later, Chen Fan parked his bicycle before the overgrown factory gates. The instant he stopped, a deep voice sounded from behind him. You picked quite the suitable place for your final resting spot. You've kept me waiting all day and wasted my time. Chen Fan turned to face the bearded man standing more than 10 meters away. Information about the stranger instantly appeared before his eyes. Class: B. Rank: Rogue Assassin. Talent: Lethal Strike. First strike against a target deals 100% increased damage. Level: 20. Strength: 601 plus 1,400. Agility: 211 plus 300. Vitality: 300 plus 1,000. Spirit: 78 plus 37. Kid, I hold no personal grudge against you, but you offended someone far too powerful. Rest assured, my blade strikes swiftly. You won't feel any pain at all. Whoosh. The bearded man sprinted forward instantly, gripping a short dagger as he lunged toward Chen Fan. 4002. After landing his blow, the assassin withdrew confidently. But when he lifted his head, Chen Fan remained standing in place. Impossible. Why isn't he dead? A level 1 mage should have at most a little over 100 HP. Chen Fan had no equipment granting stat bonuses. Confusion clouded the assassin's face. He stared upward and saw Chen Fan's remaining health. leaving him utterly stunned. HP 396638/400640. How could a level 1 mage possess 400,000 HP? This defied all common sense. This boy must possess some great secret. I cannot stay here. I need to report everything to Principal Chun at once. Although Chun Fan's health bar only flickered briefly upon taking damage, the assassin saw it clearly. The moment the bearded man turned to run, Chun Fan's fist slammed toward the back of his head. Boom. Minus 10,007. HP 14493/24500. Chun Fan threw another punch directly into the assassin's face. Did I say you could leave? You stab me and think you can just walk away. Minus 10,007. HP 4489/24500. Two punches left the assassin gravely injured, his health nearly depleted. Spare me, don't kill me. The bearded man begged in terror. This teenager must be cheating the laws of this world. No gear, yet two punches stripped away 20,000 of his HP. I'll hand over all my equipment. I own 2 epic tier items, and it was Qin Yud who ordered me to kill you. I never wanted to do this. He holds damaging evidence against me and forced me into this. Chun Fan sneered. If I kill you, all your equipment will still belong to me. Minus 10,007. As the assassin collapsed, every piece of gear he wore and all stored items from his personal inventory dropped onto the ground. This was a universal rule after the arrival of the Awakening era. A person's inventory functioned as private storage space. Weapon, Shadow Dagger. Level, 15. Tier, Epic. Equipment effect, Strength plus 1,400, critical rate plus 5%, critical damage plus 200%. Chun Fan picked up the short blade and read the floating item description. Next, he lifted a purple, glowing chest armor piece. Armor, Starlight Armor, no level requirement. Level, 16. Tier, Epic. Equipment effect, Vitality plus 1,000. Max HP increased by 800%. Regenerate 1% of maximum HP every 60 seconds. Besides these 2 pieces, his boots, necklace, ring, and belt were merely rare tier equipment with level restrictions. No Awakener below level 10 could equip them. Aside from this Starlight Armor, the rest of this gear is useless to me. After equipping Starlight Armor, Chun Fan's maximum HP surged to 3,285,000. With this massive health pool, not even Chun Yud could kill him quickly. Yet it was still not enough. Chun Fan needed more skills and superior gear to fully utilize his overwhelming stats. Raw power alone could only take him so far. After testing the armor's effects briefly, Chun Fan stowed the remaining 6 pieces of equipment into his inventory. What a poor haul. He barely owned anything valuable. Chun Fan glanced over the other dropped goods. 100,000 federal dollars, 10 basic healing potions, plus miscellaneous supplies. Fireball. As he prepared to leave, Chun Fan casually cast Fireball at the corpse. Flames quickly engulfed and incinerated the body completely. It was 1 o'clock in the morning at the entrance to the black market on the southern outskirts of the city. Though deep into the night, crowds streamed endlessly to and fro. Here you could find the most complete selection of gear on the market, alongside potions that exact a steep toll on anyone who consumed them. Naturally, if you possessed equipment that could never see the light of day, this place might offer you a buyer. Chun Fan, clad in a black baseball cap and face mask, stepped into a shabby-looking storefront. Shopkeeper, are you buying gear? The shopkeeper, a middle-aged man in his 40s, glanced up at his new customer and asked casually, "What are you looking to sell? State the tier and level." Chun Fan wasted no time. He retrieved 5 pieces of equipment from his status panel. 4 uncommon, 1 epic, all above level 10. Whoa. At the mention of epic tier equipment, the shopkeeper shot up from his recliner and hurried over to the counter. His gaze locked onto the weapon shimmering with violet light. It really is an epic weapon, built for assassins, and the stats are solid too. I can offer you 150,000 federal credits for this weapon. Combined with your 4 uncommon pieces, I'll give you a package price of 200,000. What do you say, young man? After hearing the offer, Chun Fan stowed the equipment and turned to leave without a word. This was plainly a crooked shop. Even though all 5 pieces were secondhand, their stats were far from poor. Before arriving, Chun Fan had done a rough estimate. The 5 pieces should be worth at least 300,000 federal credits. The shopkeeper clearly thought he was an easy mark. Wait, hold on, don't go. The shopkeeper rushed forward and grabbed Chun Fan's arm. We can negotiate the price. Let me tell you, across the entire southern city black market, my prices are the fairest, and I always pay in full on the spot with no delays. He wore a serious expression. Final offer, 250,000. Deal. Chen Fan paused and turned back. 280,000. The shopkeeper hesitated, then gritted his teeth. Very well. Since this is your first time doing business in my shop, I'll take a loss on this deal. Chen Fan let out a cold snort. That level 15 Shadow Dagger alone could easily resell for no less than 300,000 to 400,000 credits. There was no such thing as taking a loss here. But Chen Fan lacked established trading channels and needed quick liquidity, leaving him open to the shopkeeper's bargain hunting. I'll get your cash ready. Wait here a moment, young man. Seeing Chen Fan bring the equipment back out, the shopkeeper broke into a grin. No need. Do you have skill books in stock? I'll take those instead for equivalent value. Chen Fan thought for a second and added, also get me one uncommon staff for level 10 or below. Sure thing, I'll fetch them right away. 3 minutes later, the shopkeeper returned carrying a crate of skill books and a white staff. This uncommon staff is priced at 50,000. All the skill books are in this crate. Pick whichever catches your eye. Each one has its price marked on a sticker. Shopkeeper, your prices are outrageous. Don't think I know nothing. An uncommon piece below level 10 tops out at 10,000 to 20,000 credits. Charging 50,000 for this staff is daylight robbery. The shopkeeper held the staff out toward Chen Fan, still smiling. Check its stats first, and you'll see it's worth every credit. Though annoyed, Chen Fan took hold of the staff, glowing with faint green light. The equipment information materialized before his eyes the moment he touched it. Weapon, uncommon staff, no level restriction. Level, 10. Quality, uncommon. Equipment effect, plus 100% spell damage, plus 10% spirit attribute. See? Quite the powerful piece, isn't it? Alright. Chen Fan equipped the staff directly. This gear really is worth 50,000. He then opened the crate filled with skill books. Skill, Lesser Fireball. Price, 30,000. Skill, Lesser Lightning Bolt. Price, 40,000. Skill, Lesser Healing. Price, 20,000. After searching for some time, he found nothing but basic beginner skills, and his interest waned. Beginner skills held little cultivation value for him now. What he desperately needed were mid-tier area of effect skills. With a wide range of offensive skill and boosted spirit stats, clearing dungeons would become as simple as chopping vegetables. Nothing here to your liking? The shopkeeper noticed Chen Fan rummaging for several minutes without making a selection and spoke up. These beginner skills are far too weak. With his current funds, purchasing basic skills would be a waste. High-tier skills remained out of reach, leaving mid-tier skills as his only viable option. Do you have any intermediate skills? I'm not specialized in selling skill books, but I've acquired a fair collection over the years running this shop. The shopkeeper paused to think. I recall roughly a dozen intermediate skill books stored upstairs. Give me a minute to look for them. Very well. The shopkeeper told Chen Fan to mind the shop while he hurried up the stairs. 10 minutes later, the shopkeeper descended, cobwebs in his hair and dust coating his clothes, clutching more than 10 intermediate skill books to his chest. Come take a look and see if anything suits you, young man. Chen Fan stepped forward, scanning the titles rapidly. Intermediate skills generally ranged from 100,000 to 200,000 credits. Skill, Intermediate Blazing Inferno. Price, 200,000. Skill, Intermediate Lightning Spear. Price, 200,000. Skill, Intermediate Windwalk. Price, 100,000. Chen Fan picked up Blazing Inferno and Windwalk. One offered massive area damage, while the other provided crowd control. Used cleverly, Windwalk could even serve as a travel ability. As he grasped the two skill books, a system prompt popped up. Would you spend 1,500 free attribute points to learn and max out intermediate skill, Blazing Inferno? Would you spend 1,500 free attribute points to learn and max out intermediate skill, Windwalk? As an F-grade common mage, Chen Fan possessed near zero elemental affinity. Even if he learned skills via skill books, casting them was not guaranteed. What's more, limited elemental affinity would make raising skill proficiency painfully slow afterward. Things were different now. No matter how low his elemental affinity was, investing 1,500 free attribute points would push any intermediate skill straight to maximum rank. I'll take these two skill books. Chen Fan stored them inside his status panel and placed an additional 70,000 federal credits on the counter. Count it later. Wonderful, wonderful. The shopkeeper beamed. Come back anytime. Anything you buy in my shop, Wang Laosan's place. Once you step out this door, no one dares harass you for it. If your goods get stolen before you leave the black market, I offer full after-sales service. If the stolen items cannot be recovered, I will refund you the full amount. You run an honest business, shopkeeper. Hearing this, Chen Fan revised his opinion of the price, gouging merchant, and offered a compliment. After leaving the black market, Chen Fan wandered the surrounding area for over half an hour to confirm no one was tailing him before heading back into the city. Chen Fan's home was in an old residential district in the inner city. Upon arriving home, his first act was to light incense before his parents' spirit tablets. He bowed 3 times reverently, stuck 6 incense sticks into the censer, and spoke firmly. "Mom, Dad, I wish you were still here. Rest assured, I haven't given up. Once I grow strong, I will repay every unfair treatment I have endured." He opened his status panel and stared at his steadily growing pool of free attribute points, filled with confidence. That day will arrive soon enough. Time to learn these 2 skill books. Chen Fan walked to his bedroom, sat cross-legged on his bed, and pulled the skill books from his inventory. Would you select Invest the Points? The 2 notification prompts reappeared, and Chen Fan did not hesitate to spend 3,000 free attribute points to learn and max both intermediate skills. Consumed 1,500 free attribute points. Successfully learned and maxed intermediate skill, Blazing Inferno. Consumed 1,500 free attribute points. Successfully learned and maxed intermediate skill, Windwalk. Class, Mage. Talent, none. Level, 1. Free attributes, 5021. Strength, 10007. Agility, 2003. Vitality, 40,064 plus 1,000. Spirit, 3,009 plus 300. Skills, Fireball LV.10 max. Blazing Inferno LV.30 max. Windwalk LV.30 max. The feeling of maxing skills without tedious training is incredible. Chen Fan opened his skill menu to check the effects of his newly maxed abilities. Blazing Inferno. Spell damage increased by 300%. Effective radius expanded to 500 meters. Cooldown, 3 seconds. Windwalk. Summon tornadoes that restrain targets for 20 seconds. No cooldown. The skills perform admirably. Tomorrow I'll head to a wilderness dungeon to test their power and grind levels. At his current level 1, no high school in the city would accept him unless he exposed his outrageous stats. A level 1 mage boasting over 10,000 strength and 40,000 vitality defied all logic. Under no circumstances could he let others view his advancement panel. That would change once he leveled up. He could then explain his overwhelming power by claiming to be a god tier advancer. God tier advancers stood above every other talent grade. To put it simply, SSS grade advancers gained 1,000 free attribute points per level, while god tier advancers earned 10,000 per level. If people accepted his cover as a god tier advancer, his absurd stats at a low level would have a believable excuse. I'll put those thoughts aside for now. Get some sleep and go level grinding at first light. He took a quick shower, climbed into bed, and fell asleep within 2 minutes, deep into the night, at 3 o'clock. Inside a luxuriously furnished study, Chen Yud stood before floor-to-ceiling windows gazing out over the villa complex, white smoke curling from the cigar clamped between his teeth. He had woken abruptly in the middle of the night, overcome with restlessness, and retreated to the study to smoke. Something feels off. He repeatedly unlocked his phone, finally opening a chat window. His last message had been sent 3 hours prior. It's been 3 hours. Why hasn't he replied? Growing irritated, Chen Yud dialed the man's number. 3 rings later, the automated voice informed him the target's phone was powered off. Powered off? What's going on? A sense of unease crept over Chen Yud. He swiped rapidly across the screen. He had planted a tracker on the stubble-faced man. He could monitor the target's movements through his mobile device. But when he saw the last recorded location update had occurred 3 hours earlier, his brows drew tight. After only a moment of hesitation, he stubbed out his cigar, dressed quickly, and drove out, heading toward the abandoned factory marking the man's final track position. 20 minutes later, a sleek black SUV pulled to a halt at the entrance of an abandoned factory. Chen Yud stepped out. When he scanned his surroundings and spotted charred marks left by intense flames on the ground, his face paled with shock. The next morning, 8 o'clock. Bright sunlight stretched across a cloudless sky. Chen Fan woke up. The very first thing he did was open his panel to check his attributes. Free attributes. 24,680 other stats remain unchanged and will not be repeated. Full stats will only be displayed when updated. I gained more than 20,000 free attribute points overnight. I could grow stronger even while sleeping. This sensation is unbeatable. The sight of the newly added points chased away all traces of drowsiness. Assign all points to Spirit. Attributes allocated successfully. Current Spirit attribute, 27,689 plus 2,768. Including equipment bonuses, my Spirit has crossed 30,000. At a ratio of 2 spell damage per spirit point, my base spell damage hits 60,000 even without gear. Once equipment and skill multipliers factor in, my damage will surge several times higher. That should suffice. Time to tackle dungeons and raise my level. Chun Fan rose, washed up quickly, ate a simple breakfast, then hailed a taxi downstairs to head outside the city. Inside the taxi, at 8:30. You look young, kid. Newly awakened this year. Heading out into the wilderness alone to grind dungeons. The square-jawed taxi driver was eager for conversation. Chun Fan leaned back in the rear seat, eyes half closed. The driver chatted a while longer, but receiving little response, he fell silent and focused on driving. The taxi stopped 10 kilometers outside Southern City at 8:30 a.m. Kid, wild monsters start appearing further ahead. I can only take you this far. Chun Fan glanced at the fare showing 72 federal credits, pulled a 100-credit note from his pocket, and handed it over. This covers the ride. I'll walk the rest of the way. Keep the change. Thanks, kid. Stay safe out there. The driver smiled as he accepted the bill. After walking more than 10 meters away, Chun Fan raised a hand and summoned a tornado to lift his body, surging forward at 100 meters per second. 2. The driver gripped his steering wheel tightly, eyes wide. Wow, young people these days are extraordinary. 10 minutes later, following directions on his mobile map, Chun Fan arrived outside a dungeon entrance. 4. 1 kilometer away from the dungeon, he dispelled his skill, then changed into a black robe and pulled on a dark mask. 5. Once disguised, he walked toward the dungeon entrance on foot. I heard young Master Chung from the Chungyu Guild is coming to this newly discovered level 10 wilderness dungeon to grind today. 7. Young Master Chungyu, the S-grade lightning mage advancer. I saw his story on Southern City News right after he awakened. He's already level 10 now. I wonder if he can break the record for hard difficulty in this dungeon. 9. Dozens of advancers gathered outside the dungeon, some here to level, others simply to watch the spectacle. Chun Fan blended quietly into the crowd. When he stepped within 50 meters of the dungeon gate, a notification appeared before his eyes. 11. Do you wish to enter the dungeon? Dungeon. Wild Jungle Solo. Level. 10. Difficulty. Easy, normal, hard, hell. A solo level 10 dungeon. I'll pick hell difficulty for higher experience rewards. 13. The onlookers noticed the robed figure approaching the dungeon entrance and began whispering among themselves. 14. Who's that guy? Is he planning to clear the dungeon alone? At that moment, someone cast Lesser Scan and checked Chun Fan's level, then burst out laughing. 16. Ha ha ha. Am I seeing this right? He's only level 1. He'd probably struggle with easy mode in a level 10 dungeon. Must be a high school student who just awakened. Coming to a level 10 dungeon at level 1. He clearly doesn't understand danger. 18. Selected dungeon. Wild Jungle. Hell difficulty. Teleportation commencing in 10 seconds. 10 seconds later, light flashed over the dungeon gate, engulfing Chun Fan and transporting him inside. 20. The crowd outside caught sight of the hell difficulty selection and erupted in jeers. Did you see that? He chose hell difficulty to challenge alone. Even S-grade advancers wouldn't claim they can clear that solo. 22. Some newly awakened hothead, I bet. Has he even finished his high school advancement courses? He probably doesn't understand basic dungeon mechanics, thinking picking hell mode guarantees victory. If he wants to walk into danger, there's nothing we can do. 24. Chun Fan could not hear these remarks, as they were spoken after he teleported away. Light washed over his vision, and he entered the dungeon. Quest: defeat 300 ordinary monsters, 100 elite monsters, and vanquish the final boss. Higher quest completion yields superior ratings and rewards. 26. The dungeon objective materialized in front of him. On hell difficulty, at level 10, even ordinary monsters possessed 2,000 HP. Elite monsters boasted a minimum of 5,000 HP each. Without fully kit epic equipment, even S-grade advancers stood no chance of clearing this dungeon solo. 28. Windwalk. Holding his uncommon staff, Chun Fan summoned a tornado to lift him high into the air for better visibility. Blazing Inferno. Minus 243,656 minus 243,677 minus 243,678 inch 30. Floating above the terrain, he unleashed Blazing Inferno. Damage numbers flooded the air. None of the ordinary monsters survived a single spell. 3 seconds passed, and Blazing Inferno's cooldown reset. Chun Fan cast the wide area flame sea once more. 32. Any monster trapped within took 230,000 spell damage every second, and the flames continued burning for 30 seconds. Clearing dungeons really is this simple. In less than 10 seconds, all 300 ordinary monsters were eliminated. 34, 100 elite monsters with 5,000 HP each spawned. Blazing Inferno. A 500-meter sea of flames swallowed the 100 elite monsters in an instant. 36, 15 seconds after entering the dungeon, he reached the final boss arena. 37, at the center of the dungeon spawned a 5-meter tall minotaur wielding a giant battle axe. Name: Enraged Minotaur Boss. Level: 10. HP: 100000. Talent: Berserk low health when HP drops below 30%. Crit rate plus 10%. Crit damage plus 200%. 39. As the boss materialized, its basic stats appeared before Chin Fan. Only 100,000 HP. I can one-shot it. Minus 243,656. Dungeon cleared. Wild Jungle. Level: 10. Difficulty: Hell. Clear time: 20 seconds. Overall rating: 141. Settlement rewards: Thornplate Armor LV.10 Epic, plus 100 Strength. Thornstaff LV.10 Epic, plus 110% experience bonus. 42. Automatic teleportation out of dungeon commencing in 10 seconds. Hey everyone, look! The dungeon records have refreshed. 44. As expected, Chung Xiao takes first place. He solo cleared level 10 hard mode in just 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Truly extraordinary talent. 45. Class Awakener is overpowered. I'd have died instantly if I went in there. Covered in splatters of blood, Chung Feng looked a little pale. Still, a grin tugged at his lips when he saw his name sitting atop the leaderboard. 47. As a lightning mage, attack power was his strength, yet defense was his glaring weakness. Mages were never at an advantage in solo dungeons. While dealing damage, they constantly had to watch for ambushing mobs to avoid taking hits. 49. If he hadn't been wearing a fully maxed epic set paired with a legendary staff, he would never have managed to break this dungeon clear record today. Young master, are you injured? Seeing Chung Feng step out of the dungeon, 2 level 25 Awakener rushed forward in concern. 51. Chung Feng waved a hand. I've just run out of mana. A little rest will fix that. Whoa, this person must be cheating. How is this even possible? 53. 20 seconds? I wouldn't even have figured out the dungeon layout by then, and he's already cleared it? 54. Why can't we see his level or name? The crowd suddenly erupted into chatter, and their words caught Chung Feng's attention. 56. Curious, he stepped back into the dungeon zone to check the dungeon clear leaderboard. 57. Number 1. Difficulty: Hell. Clear time: 20 seconds. Score: 158. Number 2. Chung Feng LV.10. Difficulty: Hard. Clear time: 9 minutes 35 seconds. Score: 85. The moment the leaderboard updated, lights swirled around the dungeon portal. A figure clad in a black robe and mask stepped out. 60. Every pair of eyes locked onto this newcomer. 61. Wait a minute, isn't that the guy who selected Hell difficulty earlier? Has he even been inside for half a minute? 63. Hold on, could that record belong to him? 64. Clearing level 10 Hell mode solo in 20 seconds? That doesn't make any sense. Chung Xiao only finished hard mode in over 9 minutes. I swear someone said that robed man was only level 1. Could their detection skill have malfunctioned? 66. Moments ago, Chung Feng had been secretly elated, claiming first place after clearing the dungeon. Now his expression darkened. He'd been confused earlier. Even with his top ranking, his clear rewards had been mediocre. 68. Logically, breaking a dungeon record should grant generous attribute points and valuable equipment. Chin Fan, who had just exited the portal, listened briefly to the spectators' discussions and quickly grasped what was unfolding. 70. It seemed his outstanding performance had drawn everyone's gaze. Truly, the radiance of genius cannot be concealed no matter where one goes. Chung Feng activated his detection skill on Chin Fan. All that appeared before him was a single line. LV.2. 72. Only level 2? You've got to be kidding me. A level 2 Awakener cleared level 10 Hell mode solo in 20 seconds. 73. He must have found a loophole in the dungeon rules to exploit. The Wild Jungle dungeon had only appeared a few days prior. Its inherent rule power might still be incomplete, leaving potential bugs. 75. With that thought, Chung Feng stepped forward and blocked Chin Fan's path. How did you clear Hell difficulty in 20 seconds? Chung Feng knew Wild Jungle dungeon all too well. Hard mode alone had pushed him to the limit. Solo hell mode was far more brutal. 77. Chun Fan did not lift his gaze. He walked straight past him and said calmly, I tossed out a few skills, and the dungeon was cleared. Irritated by such blatant disregard, Chung Feng held back from pressing further. 79. One of the level 25 awakeners beside him suddenly stretched out an arm to stop Chin Fan. Stop. Did I say you could leave? 80. Chin Fan raised an eyebrow. You want me to stay? Then you won't be leaving. The instant the man finished speaking, a fist-sized fireball hurtled straight toward him. 82. 63409. Hit by fireball. The man's health bar nearly emptied. A gaping wound tore through his chest as blood gushed out. You're asking for death. Seeing his companion nearly killed in an instant, the second man burned with rage. 84. In the blink of an eye, he swapped to combat gear via his status panel, ready to strike Chin Fan. Chin Fan kept flame C primed in his grasp. If this man dared attack, he would unleash it without hesitation. 86. Now that he wielded such power, he would never endure petty humiliation from lackeys. Brother, hold on, no need for fighting. We mean no harm. Chung Feng hurried forward to mediate. 88. He had witnessed the fireball's damage just now. A basic skill dealing over 60,000 damage was impossible for a level 2 awakener. Chung Feng finally realized Chin Fan had not been boasting. With such terrifying damage output, clearing a level 10 dungeon would truly be child's play. 90. Keep your subordinates under control. Next time, you will lose someone. Chin Fan swept his robe, activating wind riding. A gust of wind lifted him, speeding toward the next dungeon. 92. Hurry and use healing potions on him, or he won't survive. Chung Feng kicked his stunned subordinate. 93. The man snapped to attention, retrieving healing potions from his inventory to stabilize his injured ally. Chung Feng stared toward the direction Chin Fan had departed, his mind racing. 95. Even an SSS, tier talent awakener cannot produce damage like that, not when he's only level 2. 96. That leaves only one possibility. Chung Feng could barely believe his own thought. Could he be an awakener with god tier talent? No other explanation existed for everything he had just witnessed. Even with equipment bonuses, a level 2 character could never output such devastating damage. 98. Drawing on his experience reading countless face-slapping novels, he recalled seeing a similar outfit once before. 99. That figure also wielded fire magic and carried a heavy ruler on his back. We head back immediately. Chung Feng called out to his 2 subordinates, hurrying back to South City. 101. He needed to discuss this matter with his father. The emergence of a suspected god, tier talent awakener would send shockwaves everywhere. If he offended this rising powerhouse over today's trivial conflict, his father would be furious enough to discipline him severely. 103. Watching Chung Feng and his 2 men rush off, the onlookers were utterly dumbfounded. 104. Did any of you see how much damage that robed man's single fireball dealt? 105. 60,000? How could a level 2 mage unleash that kind of power? Only he knows the truth. 107. Did anyone hear what Qing Xiao muttered? He thinks that man might be a god tier talent awakener. 108. You're joking. If South City produced a god tier awakener, universities nationwide would be scrambling to recruit him already. Before long, word of a level 2 suspected god tier talent awakener spotted at the South City Wilderness Dungeon spread like wildfire across the South City Awakener official network. 110. Chin Fan paid no mind to the swirling rumors. He was already kilometers away, carried by wind riding. Level was merely superficial data. True combat power relied on stats, and stats were what he possessed in overwhelming abundance. 112. Apart from leveling up during this trip, he had another goal: build his reputation and draw the attention of all major factions in South City. 113. Let them learn that a newly awakened god tier talent had appeared this year. Minutes later, the tornado dissipated, and Chun Fan landed steadily. 115. Before him stood another dungeon entrance, yet another level 10 wilderness dungeon. 116. It differed from the last one. The previous dungeon restricted solo entry. This one allowed unrestricted multi-player access. 117. That meant he might encounter other awakeners inside. Would you like to enter the dungeon? Dungeon, Poisonous Mire Marsh Multi-Player/Solo, Level 10, Difficulty, Hard, 119. As Chen Fan stepped into the dungeon portal radius, system information materialized before his eyes. Confirm entry. Yes. 120. Teleportation commencing in 10 seconds. 11. The moment Chen Fan teleported inside and took a breath, damage notifications popped up. 122. Pale green toxic fog blanketed everything in sight. Every second spent within the dungeon drained 1 health point. 123. Naturally, such trivial damage meant nothing to Chen Fan, the level 2 mage with over 3.2 million maximum HP. Even if wounded, Starlight Armor's passive recovery would trigger after a minute, instantly restoring 1% of his maximum health. 125. Quests. 1. Slay Marsh Poison Beast 0/1500 Toot. It defeat the Marsh Core boss alongside others 0/13. Maintain health above 70% upon dungeon clearance. Wind Riding Chen Fan raised his staff and summoned a tornado to lift him high, surveying the dungeon terrain. 127. The entire poisonous mire marsh was shrouded in pale green mist. In the distance, he spotted several 5-man teams locked in combat with venomous monsters. 128. Kilometers away, he could faintly make out the silhouette of the central boss. I'll finish off the mobs first before tackling the boss. Team dungeon bosses usually boasted hundreds of thousands of health. 131. Shotting them would prove difficult for most, though Chen Fan was an exception. 131. Flame. See the instant poison beast spawned. They were swallowed by a wall of fire stretching 500 meters in every direction. Every newly spawned monster died instantly. In barely over 10 seconds, he completed a third of the first quest objective. 133. Area of effect skills were unmatched for mob clearing. He really needed to earn more gold to purchase additional skill books. 134. Flame C 243656 243677 243678 135. Quests. 1. Slay Marsh Poison Beasts 1867/1500. Right as Chen Fan finished the first quest, the dungeon's central boss activated. 137. The 4-5-man team struggling to clear monsters all paused, turning their gazes toward the marsh center. 138. Which team finished killing 1,500 poison beasts so quickly? No clue. Everyone who entered has roughly equal strength. We haven't hit the quota, so how did they manage? 140. Quit talking and cast heal on me. The toxin is eating away at my health. 141. Forget it. Missing the first quest only lowers clearance rewards. If someone steals the boss, this entire trip is a waste. After a quick discussion, the 4 teams abandoned mob farming and rushed straight toward the central boss. 143. Name. Giant Poison Spider Boss. Level. 10. HP. 200,000. Talents. Venomous Spawn. Noxious Green Mist. Last Stand 144. As Chen Fan stepped within 100 meters of the boss, a status panel appeared. Worthy of a multi-player dungeon boss. Plenty of talents. 200,000 HP. It almost could survive one of my strikes. 146. Chen Fan lifted his staff and chanted, Flame C. 147. Squeak squeak. The moment Chen Fan appeared, the giant poison spider activated its first talent. Yet in the next instant, a wave of fire washed across a 200-meter radius. 149. 243654. The moment flames touched the giant poison spider, damage values floated above its head. 150. It burned to death instantly, alongside every spider minion it had summoned. Upon death, its third talent, Last Stand, activated. 1 second later, faint red light enveloped the giant poison spider. 152. It gained super armor, immune to all crowd control. Its HP rose from 200,000 to 300,000. 400 meters away, the mist parted. 20 people stood watching, none daring to advance. A heavily armored warrior wielding a giant shield stared in shock. He one-shot it. A staff-wielding youth's hands trembled slightly. I studied strategy guides before coming here. The giant poison spider has 200,000 HP in Phase 1 and 300,000 HP plus CC immunity in Phase 2. Are you saying that Robed Mage wiped out the boss with a single area of effect skill? I thought AoE skills dealt low single-target damage. What is going on here? Could it simply be that his stats are so absurdly high that damage reduction mechanics mean nothing to him? A swordsman stepped forward and addressed the group. Should we try to contest the boss? That sea of fire covers such a wide range. Even brushing against it means instant death. I say we abandon this boss. Meanwhile, the boss had just revived. Another damage value of 230,000 floated above its head. The flames continued to rage unabated. With this second damage tick, the giant poison spider only endured 3 full seconds beneath Chen Fan's skill. Dungeon cleared. Poisonous Mire Marsh. Level 10. Difficulty hard. Clear time 54 seconds. Overall rating 100. Clearance rewards Venom Claw Shard Epic Material, Venom Tooth Necklace Epic, Spider Carapace Armor Legendary, EXP, plus 140%. Automatic Dungeon Evacuation commencing in 10 seconds. South City, Chinue Guild, Top, Floor Council Chamber. You claim you encountered a suspected god, tier talent awakener at the Wilderness Dungeon? Inside the council room, a stern middle-aged man fixed his gaze on his son. This man was the founder of Chinue Guild, a level 45 lightning mage. Cheng Feng nodded seriously. That's correct. He was only level 2, yet a single basic fireball nearly left Ahui on the brink of death. Ahui was the level 25 awakener who had almost been instantly killed earlier. The middle-aged man fell into thought. No records indicate anyone awakened god tier talent during this year's awakening ceremony in South City. He might not be a local. Still, we cannot afford carelessness. Send men to monitor all wilderness dungeons around South City these days. If you spot the man you described, try to form friendly relations. We could also attempt. He paused and discarded the idea of recruiting the genius. Chinue Guild was merely a small guild in a minor city. It lacked the resources to support a god tier awakener. Forget it. If we cannot win him over, we must not make an enemy of him. Once word spreads, every faction in South City will compete to recruit him. You already had a minor run-in with him. If you cross paths again, you must offer a sincere apology. Noon sunlight blazed overhead. Inside the principal's office of South City No. 1 High School, 5 injured students gathered. Chinyud looked gravely at the 5 youths. The 5 of you set out for Wilderness Team Dungeons to level up. What happened to leave you in this state? A knight wearing plate armor, an S-tier talent awakener, stepped forward ahead of the others to speak. Principal Chun, we ran into something unusual while clearing level 10 poisonous Mire Marsh dungeon. He recounted everything they had witnessed. The masked man instantly defeating a 2-phase boss with 500,000 total HP. After listening carefully, even Chun Yud frowned in contemplation. Tell me more details. Describe the mage's elemental affinity. Chun Yud had just received information from Chinue Guild. A suspected god, tier talent awakener had appeared at the Wilderness Dungeon. The youth was low level, undoubtedly a newly awakened participant from this year's ceremony. He wore a black robe and mask, concealing his features. The team's mage stepped forward. He was a fire mage. He cast only one intermediate fire skill, Flame Sea, and wiped out the boss in one go. What was his level? After exiting the dungeon, we used detection skill. He was only level 3. I understand. Return and rest properly. Once the 5 students left, Chinyud tightened his thermos, anticipation shining in his eyes. That youth is likely around 18. I wonder if he attends any local high school. If I can recruit him to South City No. 1 High. A broad smile spread across his face at the thought. If a god, tier talent awakener emerged under his tenure as principal, he dared not imagine how brilliant his future career would become. South City Education Bureau, 3rd floor, Director's Office. Lao Zhou, why summon me in such a hurry? I just suppressed a level 30 rampaging corrupted wilderness dungeon. I haven't even had a chance to rest before your urgent call dragged me back. The man addressed as Lao Zhou was the South City Education Bureau Director, overseeing all newly awakened high school students this year. Take a look at this first. Lao Zhou handed over a tablet. When the man read the contents, his pupils constricted. Fatigue vanished instantly as he slammed the tablet onto the desk, voice filled with excitement. When did South City produce such a prodigy? Why have I received no prior reports? Lao Zhou shook his head with a bitter smile. This news only surfaced recently. It's still circulating within South City for now. Dozens of awakeners witnessed his combat firsthand. More than 10 students from South City No. 1, No. 3, and No. 6 high schools encountered him at Wilderness Dungeons. Level 3 capable of such combat power. Without question, this is God, tier talent. We need to keep a close eye on this young man in the coming days. Arrange appropriate protection to prevent evil factions from targeting him. Lao Zhou, I would do exactly that even without you reminding me. Both men understood fully what a god, tier talent awakener meant to the entire Dragon Nation. If he could grow to his full potential, he would undoubtedly become a pillar of the nation. 5 in the afternoon. After clearing poisonous Mire Marsh dungeon, Chun Fan continued exploring wilderness dungeons. Most of these dungeons were level 3 to 6, and full score clear records had already been claimed by others. Even when Chun Fan achieved perfect ratings, the rewards and experience gained were limited. After grinding 7 or 8 low-tier dungeons, he only leveled up once. Over the entire day, he gained 4 levels, ending at level 5 with 40 free attribute points. Tier mages normally receive 10 free attribute points per level. Chun Fan paid this little mind, though. The attribute points earned through tedious leveling paled in comparison to what he passively gained every minute. Grinding these ordinary wilderness dungeons won't grant meaningful experience gains anymore. Repeated runs of these dungeons triggered experience decay. No further experience rewarded after the second clear. To level rapidly, he needed to tackle high difficulty level 10 dungeons that still held unclaimed perfect clear rewards. Those yielded generous clearance bonuses. Chun Fan scanned his surroundings and muttered quietly, I have quite a few people tailing me. I need to find a safe spot to change out of this outfit. Thanks to Chun Fan's outstanding performance today, he had drawn plenty of attention, becoming the focus of nearly everyone's gaze. Wind Rider Art. Chun Fan raised his hand and summoned a tornado. The gale lifted him up and carried him swiftly south toward the southern city. Chun Fan circled the outskirts of southern city several times using Wind Rider Art. After confirming no one was tailing him, he picked a thick forest, stripped off his outer clothes, and headed toward the city gate. Once inside southern city, he pulled out his phone and ordered a ride back to his run-down residential complex. He lit incense sticks for his father and mother, then returned to his bedroom. Closing the door, Chun Fan took out the equipment he had looted from the dungeon today from his status panel. 4 pieces stood out most: 3 epic, grade, and 1 legendary grade. Equipment: Thorn Armor. Level: 10. Quality: Epic. Effects: Physique plus 800, Health plus 500%. Equipment: Thorn Staff. Level: 10. Quality: Epic. Effects: Spell damage plus 200%, Spirit plus 300, Wood, Type skill damage plus 200%. Equip the Thorn Staff. In an instant, the fine grade staff in his equipment slot was replaced by the Thorn Staff. As for the armor, Chun Fan did not equip it. He merely glanced at its stats and tossed it aside. A single armor slot could only hold 1 defensive piece. He already wore Starlight Armor, whose stats outperformed Thorn Armor, leaving no reason to switch. Let's check what bonuses this legendary armor offers. Equipment: Venom Spider Armor. Level: 10. Quality: Legendary. Effects: Physique plus 1,500, Health plus 1,000%, Physical Defense plus 30%. Talent: When struck, generate a shield equal to 10% of maximum health cooldown, 2.5 minutes. Truly worthy of legendary quality, it even comes with a talent. Still, Starlight Armor feels superior with its passive health regeneration. Though he could not use either armor for the time being, he could sell them to other Awakened, earning a substantial profit. Chun Fan picked up the last piece, a necklace, and equipped it. Equipment: Venom Fong Necklace. Level: 10. Quality: Epic. Effects: Spirit plus 200, restore 10 mana per second, skill cooldown reduction 20%. Beyond the equipment lay piles of materials and loot from the dungeon clear reward, all useless to Chun Fan. Staring at over a dozen inventory slots filled with materials, he frowned. I need to find time to sell all of these and buy skill books to grow stronger. After sorting everything away, he removed his equipment, leaving only Starlight Armor on his body. He then headed to the kitchen to cook dinner. Having been busy all day without eating, he was starving. 8 o'clock in the evening, after dinner, Chun Fan sat on the living room sofa scrolling through his phone. Numerous posts mentioning him had surfaced on the local forum, yet authorities appeared to deliberately suppress the hype, preventing the videos and rumors from spreading widely. I've made a name for myself today, but it's not enough. I need to reach level 10 at minimum. Wild dungeons are no longer worth clearing. Experience and rewards are far too low. Chun Fan turned his attention to the southern city Awakened Guild. The Awakened Guild hosts many viable dungeons. I can head there to farm tomorrow. Time to rest. More dungeon runs tomorrow. He switched off his phone, lay down on the bed, and quickly fell into a deep sleep. Boss Chun, the man you ordered me to monitor returned home around 6 this evening. I checked surveillance within a 1-kilometer radius, but there's no record of his movements throughout the day. Inside the study of a villa, Chun Yud listened to the call with unease, a smoldering cigar pinched between his index and middle fingers. He exhaled a cloud of smoke slowly before asking, "Have you uncovered any clues about last night's incident? Is there a powerful expert secretly protecting Chun Fan?" Ever since returning from the abandoned factory the previous night, Chun Yud had tossed and turned until dawn. If Chun Fan was still alive, he would expose all of Chun Yud's crimes. In the next few days, high-ranking officials and influential figures from the capital would arrive for inspections and early admissions evaluations. If his embezzlement of martyrs' pension funds came to light, Chun Yud would face catastrophic consequences. Beyond that, he had run countless illegal side businesses and abused his official position for personal gain over the years. Should every misdeed be exposed, he would face the harshest possible punishment. We have found nothing for now. The perpetrator likely left no traces. Very well, set that matter aside for now. Chen Yud's expression hardened as he stubbed out the cigar. Increase the payment. Hire several awakened to go to his home and eliminate him. I never want to see Chen Fan alive again. Understood. I will handle this perfectly. After hanging up, Chen Yud lit another cigar out of irritation and sank into the leather sofa of his study, engulfed in smoke. He refused to believe Chen Fan, a mere level 1 common mage, could defeat a level 20 assassin with A/B tier talent. There must be a powerful hidden expert aiding him. To avoid future trouble, Chen Yud intended to erase this threat. 2 o'clock in the early morning. 5 figures sneaked into the run-down residential complex. Captain, according to the tracker, the target lives in that building ahead. Here's his photo. A young man with square glasses and a mushroom haircut pulled out his phone to confirm the information. Leading the group was a young man, an A-tier summoner awakened, who had contracted 2 level 20 and 1 level 29 spirit beasts. After seeing the photo on the phone, the summoner let out a scoff. We need the whole squad just to kill a level 1 F-tier mage? What a waste of manpower. I could send 1 spirit beast to finish him effortlessly. The mushroom-haired man cut in. Captain, that's not the case. Rumors say the boy has a hidden protector who killed a level 20 assassin. Their combat strength cannot be underestimated, so we must stay cautious. I know, I'll be careful. He understood the risks, even if he spoke dismissively. He raised his hand and conjured a summoning array in midair. Pale green light swirled, and a venomous snake roughly 1 meter long slithered out of the formation. The summoner held the phone out before the snake and ordered, "Take care of this man. He lives on the 5th floor of that building ahead." Only Chen Fan resided on the entire 5th floor. All other tenants had long moved out of the aging complex. After studying the photo, the snake nodded in an almost human manner. As a spirit beast, it fully comprehended its master's commands. Though the snake appeared small, it carried extremely potent venom. Even a level 20 shield warrior would perish from a single bite. The snake climbed up to the 5th floor, tracking the signature of living beings. Only one source of life could be found on this floor, making its target easy to locate. It reached the front door, spewing dark green venom that corroded a large hole through the rusted metal gate. Sliding easily inside Chen Fan's home, it quickly crept toward the bedroom. Spotting the man sleeping on the bed, the snake bared its sharp fangs and sank them into Chen Fan's left arm. 10,086 to 7,465. In merely 2 seconds, over 17,000 health points vanished from Chen Fan. Sharp pain shot through his arm, jolting Chen Fan awake. The moment he opened his eyes, he saw the venomous snake clinging to his left arm, continuously pumping venom into his body. Damn it, where did this snake come from? Chen Fan instantly cast Fireball, slamming it straight into the snake's head. 31,700. While the snake boasted terrifying attack power, its defenses were abysmal. A single fireball from Chen Fan killed it instantly. After slaying the snake, Chen Fan scrambled to grab bandages from his nightstand and tightly wrap his left arm to slow the spread of venom. Even though the snake was dead, it had injected nearly all its venom into his arm before perishing. As a result, he continued to take 1,000 poison damage every second for the next 3 minutes. Thankfully, I kept Starlight armor equipped while sleeping. I might not have reacted in time to the ambush otherwise. Chen Fan immediately donned his staff and necklace, ready for battle. This snake had clearly been sent to attack him. Its full strike could deal nearly 200,000 damage. An ordinary mage would have died instantly. Only Chen Fan's inflated stats allowed him to survive. This world may be a fusion of game and reality, yet poison still brought searing pain. Within seconds, his left arm had swollen badly, the bite wound turning pale purple. I shook off every tale today. There's no way anyone found my address. Chen Fan racked his brain, certain he had left no openings. I need to stay more vigilant from now on. This snake was likely just a scout sent to test me. I don't know how many enemies there are or their combat layout, so rushing outside could walk me straight into an ambush. Chen Fan quickly analyzed the situation. Anyone who can command a level 20 spirit beast summoner cannot be weak. He promptly opened his character panel. Distribute attribute points. Class, Mage, Talent, None, Level, 57%, Free attribute points, 61670, Strength, 10107, Agility, 2003, Physique, 4006 4 plus 1000. Spirit, 27,689 plus 500. Skills, Fireball LV.10 max, Sea of Blazing Flames LV.30 max, Wind Rider Art LV.30 max. Physique, plus 50,000. Spirit plus 11,670. Chin Fan poured all 1,000 free attribute points into Physique and Spirit. After the allocation, his Physique surpassed 90,000 and Spirit neared 40,000. Watching his health bar surge from roughly 3 million to 2 million, Chun Fan finally felt secure. Downstairs, the 5 people stood at the stairwell, unwilling to rush upward. Suddenly, the lead summoner's expression shifted. The spiritual contract linking him to the venomous snake shattered. The contract broke. My snake is dead. The summoner's face paled. While the snake hit extremely hard, its defense was pitiful. Even a level 10 damage, focused awakened, could kill it easily. We cannot underestimate our foe. There really is a powerful expert hiding inside the house. But before it died, the snake sent me a message. It successfully poisoned the target. Once infected, Chun Fan is doomed. As he spoke, the summoner constructed 2 more summoning arrays. In the next instant, a 3-meter tall black bear and a patterned tiger materialized beside him. The bear was level 20 and the tiger level 29. With these 2 spirit beasts, the summoner's combat power rivaled that of a newly advanced level 30 first evolution awakened. The remaining 4 members of the squad were an assassin, a mage, a pure tank warrior, and a healer. The mushroom-haired man equipped his heavy tank armor, gripped his shield, and stepped to the front. He was the squad's main tank. All his attribute points were invested in Physique, and with full armor bonuses, his maximum health reached 300,000. As they climbed the stairs, Chun Fan had already changed into a black robe, pulled on a mask, and crouched at the stairwell landing on the 6th floor. After the ambush, he knew his home was targeted. He would not wait inside for enemies to break in. He waited silently at the landing, making no sound. Captain, this is the place. I'll go in first to scout. If danger arises, I can hold the line. As the squad's tank with the highest health pool, the mushroom-haired man always took on the riskiest tasks during dungeon runs. Squeak. The mushroom-haired man pushed open the rusted front door and flipped on the living room light. Finding no one, he quickly searched the bedroom, yet the room stood empty. Captain, nobody's here. No body either. The kid must have fled. The summoner frowned. That can't be right. Combined with ongoing poison damage, the snake's attack dealt over 180,000 damage. A level 1 mage should die countless times over from such a blow. Outside the door, the black bear sniffed the air and lifted its head toward the 6th floor. Through the spiritual bond of their contract, the summoner sensed the beast's alarm. Watch out. Someone's upstairs. Wind Rider Art. Chun Fan, who had concealed his presence above, struck without hesitation. A tornado erupted, binding the squad's mage and assassin. Sea of Blazing Flames. The thorn staff surged with dense fire elemental energy the next moment. Flames swallowed the mage and assassin in an instant. Damage notifications popped up brightly. 457668, 457997. Chun Fan struck with overwhelming force, instantly eliminating 2 of the squad's damage dealers. 2 of the 5 were down, leaving only the summoner as a viable combat threat. Impossible. The summoner stared in shock. In less than a breath's time, 2 of his teammates had perished. He had expected this mission to be simple, an easy 50,000 payoff. Instead, he had run into a formidable opponent. Who was this robed figure? They looked vaguely familiar. 450,000 damage. Unbelievable. The squad's healer, dressed in green robes and clutching a wooden staff, widened her eyes. She replayed the devastating burst of damage in her mind. She had not even managed to cast a single healing spell before her 2 teammates died. What kind of monster was this foe? Only first evolution awakened above level 30 should be capable of such damage. Captain, run. I'll hold off this first evolution expert. The mushroom-haired man raised his shield and positioned himself between the summoner and the threat. The black bear and tiger stood beside the summoner, hesitant to attack. Though merely spirit beasts, they possessed basic intelligence. Is there some misunderstanding between us, sir? Why attack and kill 2 of my teammates? The summoner spoke in a calm, conciliatory tone. He knew even with the tank shielding him, escape was impossible. Their opponent was likely a first evolution expert. The entire squad could meet their end here today. If he had known Chun Fan had a first evolution protector, he never would have accepted the job. Misunderstanding? Are you certain there is no enmity between us? Chun Fan flicked his black robe aside, revealing his left arm tightly wrapped in bandages, skin darkened and purple from venom. Then explain why you sent a snake into my home in the dead of night to murder me? At the sight of the wound on Chun Fan's arm, the summoner's eyes widened in shock. He recognized that injury and venom spread instantly, the exact mark left by his venomous snake's bite. That snake had slain many powerful spirit beasts using this very tactic. Who exactly are you? 462,210. Before the summoner finished his question, flames erupted beneath his feet, engulfing him completely. His two spirit beasts perished alongside him. Chun Fan let out a cold snort. He had simply waited for his skill cooldown. He had no patience for the man's meaningless words. He had sent a snake to kill him. There was no room for negotiation. In less than 10 seconds, 3 core fighters of the 5-man squad were dead. Only the tank warrior and the healer remained, lacking meaningful offensive power. Don't move. Otherwise, you will be next. Seeing the mushroom-haired man prepare to advance, Chun Fan held a skill ready to unleash at any second. The mushroom-haired man froze mid-step and glanced at the woman beside him. There was no hope left. The two of them could never defeat this suspected first evolution expert. The healer crossed her arms, tears welling in her eyes. We're doomed. Some faint sense of familiarity tugged at her. She spent plenty of time online, and this fire mage's outfit looked familiar from local forums and short video platforms. After several seconds of recollection, she placed where she had seen this appearance. This was the legendary Awakened who had caused a stir on the Southern City Awakened official website earlier that day. The cloak, mask, and skills all matched perfectly. Remove all your equipment and drop it on the ground. Do not try any tricks, or I will kill you immediately. Without hesitation, the two stripped off all 6 pieces of their gear and tossed them onto the floor. The woman hugged herself tightly, her face showing a desperate plea. Sir, please spare me. I didn't plan this operation. I'm just someone taking a job. The mastermind who hired us is already dead at your hands. Can you let me live? She tried to plead further, now certain the man before her was the famed top-tier Awakened. She believed there might still be a chance to survive. After all, she had not participated in the direct attack. Those who carried out the killing were already gone. I haven't harmed anyone, and I can provide you with useful information and assistance. Silence. Chun Fan ignored her pleas entirely. He had already resolved not to leave any witnesses alive. He had only spoken to them for a reason. From her words, he deduced someone had paid to hire this full squad to assassinate him. Chun Fan needed to learn the identity of the employer. Once he grew stronger in the coming days, he would track the mastermind down and eliminate the person who sought his life. Who hired the 5 of you to kill Chun Fan? The woman shook her head repeatedly, her voice trembling. I don't know. I'm just hired help. Please don't kill me. Senior, our target is Chun Fan. What does this have to do with you? Though suspicion lingered, the mushroom-haired man hoped to confirm his theory. Chun Fan pulled off his mask, letting them see his face clearly. You came here to kill me. How could this have nothing to do with me? The two fell into stunned silence the moment they saw his features. The mushroom-haired man thought. They said Chun Fan was only level 1. How can a level 1 mage cast skills dealing over 400,000 damage? The healer thought in shock. No way. Chun Fan is the legendary powerful Awakened everyone is talking about. Impossible. How can you be this strong? The mushroom-haired man stared in disbelief, then realization dawned. You are the legendary Awakened with an incredible talent. That was the only explanation. Chun Fan's combat power matched a first evolution expert, yet he had not even reached level 10. Now I am asking the questions. Who sent you? Sensing the killing intent rolling off Chun Fan, the mushroom-haired man abandoned his shock and rushed to speak. Spare me. I know who hired us. It's Chun Yud, the principal of Southern City No. 1 High School. Chun Yud. Chun Fan gritted his teeth. Sea of blazing flames. Rage surged through him, and Chun Fan unleashed the skill toward the 2 survivors. Flames washed over them instantly. Burdened by the massive damage, the healer could not endure even 1 second and was incinerated. 478, 470, 478, 563. Beneath the 470,000 damage per second of sea of blazing flames, the mushroom-haired man clung to life. His health bar was nearly empty, only a single hit point remaining. A forced survival skill. Interesting. I wonder how long it can sustain you. The mushroom-haired man's eyes turned bloodshot, and he shouted hoarsely. You promised you wouldn't kill me. You're dishonorable. Chun Fan spread his hands. I never promised to spare you. That was only your own plea. Damn it. After 3 seconds, the forced survival effect expired, and flames consumed the mushroom-haired man. In his final moments, He roared with all his strength. He wanted to wait until the college entrance examination to settle scores with me. Yet he kept sending people to murder me again and again. In just 2 days, Chen Yud had dispatched 2 separate groups to assassinate him. If Chen Fan had not possessed extraordinary power, he would have died countless times already. Saving attribute points for 3 days will net me roughly 260,000 free attribute points. I'll stock up on some supplies, then deal with that troublemaker once and for all. Now that he had resolved to strike, he needed to make thorough preparations. After all, Chen Yud was a transcendent who had completed his first advancement and possessed an A-tier talent, with a level exceeding 40. He needed enough burst damage and a way to prevent his target from fleeing. Even though university instructors and officials from the capital were arriving in Nanxing in the coming days, Chen Fan could not suppress his urge to kill Chen Yud. Even clay figures have a temper, let alone a living person. Chen Fan glanced down at his increasingly swollen left hand and gritted his teeth. My hand has lost all sensation. I need an antidote quickly, or I might lose this arm entirely. Though the continuous damage from the viper bite had faded, Chen Fan remained poisoned and injured. The wound was not lethal, yet waves of stinging pain tormented him relentlessly. I'll pick up the loot first. I can't stay in this house any longer. Despite rushing to treat his injury, Chen Fan did not forget to collect the equipment dropped by his foes. The 5 enemies had dropped a total of 30 pieces of gear. Most were purple, rarity items, and there were even 2 golden legendary grade pieces. 7 pieces, however, burned to ruin under the scorching flames of the fire sea. In the end, only 23 pieces of equipment, alongside numerous unknown forging materials and consumables, appeared inside Chen Fan's personal inventory. He had no time to examine their stats and effects, tossing everything into his storage space in one go. Thankfully, the 2 legendary items survived. This haul was worth it. It's true, looting drops from fights is by far the fastest way to get equipment. Chen Fan looked at the living room, charred and destroyed by fire, then hurried to gather his belongings. Before leaving, he took the memorial tablets of his parents with him. He could no longer use his identity as Chen Fan openly. If Chen Yud caught wind of him, more assassins would be sent after him. 2 successive failed attempts meant he could not predict what powerful enemies would come next. Caution was mandatory. After leaving the apartment building, Chen Fan sprinted through the corridors and city streets. With an agility stat of 2,000, his running speed was formidable. He was not heading toward Nanxing Hospital. If he sought treatment there, his identity would be exposed. Investigations would inevitably uncover everything that had happened tonight. Chen Fan was unwilling to reveal himself so soon. Until he grew stronger, exposure would only bring endless trouble. A cloaked figure leaped and raced through the nighttime city, heading straight for the black market on the outskirts of town. There, as long as you had money, nearly anything could be arranged. Chen Fan planned to buy serum to counteract the viper venom there. 20 minutes later, bolstered by his impressive strength and agility stats, he reached the black market entrance. He removed his black robe before stepping inside. He wandered down the cluttered streets, scanning row after row of shops in search of an apothecary, yet found nothing suitable. When he finally located a shop selling medicinal concoctions, the shopkeeper told him the poison had spread too far. Amputation was the only option. Chen Fan dismissed the man with a single phrase, quack. 2nd and 3rd tier advanced healer transcendence could mend grievous wounds, even bring the dying back from the brink. Yet Chen Fan could never afford to hire such powerful practitioners with his current funds. Ugh, I've waited too long. Could I really end up losing my arm? Chen Fan wiped cold sweat from his forehead with his right hand. His left arm was swollen and darkened along most of its length, completely numb to touch. This was only his 2nd time visiting Nanxing's black market, and he knew nothing of its layout. He had no clue where to find a shop capable of treating his current affliction. Suddenly, the face of a middle-aged man surfaced in his mind. The merchant who had bought his weapons, Wang Laosan. I have no other options. I'll take whatever chance I can get. The shop had stood for many years, so its owner ought to know every corner of the black market. Several minutes later, Chen Fan stood once more before the weapon shop. He stepped inside to see the shop owner lounging in a recliner, eyes closed, listening to stories broadcast on FM radio. The instant Chen Fan crossed the threshold, Wang Laosan's eyes flew open and turned toward the doorway. When he saw Chen Fan's pale face and black, purple left arm, he shot upright from the chair. Young man, what happened to you? He still remembered Chen Fan visiting his store early that morning. Do you know anyone nearby who sells anti-venom serum or a high-tier healer transcendent? I've been bitten by a venomous snake, and time is running out. Hearing this, Wang Laosan grabbed Chen Fan's arm and led him outside. Your injury is critical. There's a real risk you'll lose that arm. But, he paused, a figure coming to mind. There might be someone who can heal you without amputation. I can pay whatever price. A faint smile tugged at Chen Fan's pale lips at the prospect of saving his limb. That's the problem. Wang Laosan asked a neighboring vendor to watch his shop, then turned back with a troubled expression. That woman has an extremely strange temperament. There's no guarantee she'll accept payment. She only helps others if she's in the mood. She owns a shop in the black market, yet barely opens it a few days each month. If we want her help, we have to go to her residence. It will take at least 10 minutes to get there. As he spoke, Wang Laosan pulled a potion from his inventory. Drink this antidote. It cannot neutralize your viper venom entirely, but it will slow its spread and suppress the toxin. Thank you. Chen Fan took the potion with his right hand and drained it in one gulp. A cool sensation washed over his body after he drank it, and the stabbing pain in his arm dulled. 2 minutes later, Chen Fan climbed into a modified unmarked off-road vehicle alongside Wang Laosan. Hold on tight. Chen Fan had barely fastened his seatbelt when the vehicle surged forward like a spear, leaving a pale blue trail in its wake. It could accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 1.2 seconds. Chen Fan stared at the speedometer climbing to 270 kilometers per hour and swallowed nervously. Boss Wang, maybe slow down a little. I'm not going to die right away. Wang Laosan's eyes lit up with excitement. Don't worry. I was an excellent race car driver in my youth. This speed is nothing more than a warm-up for me. Chen Fan offered an awkward, polite smile as the vehicle raced along the road. 10 minutes later, the car drifted to a sharp halt before a luxuriously decorated villa. Wang Laosan quickly stepped out and walked to the gate to ring the doorbell. Buzz. Less than 10 seconds after he pressed the button, an angry woman's voice crackled from the speaker. Wang Laosan, are you tired of living? You dragged me out of my sleep in the middle of the night. Don't you know how important sleep is for maintaining beautiful skin? At the same time, a delicate, gorgeous face appeared on the electronic screen beside the intercom. Miss Millie, I'm here for an emergency. One of my customers has sustained a severe injury. If he doesn't receive treatment soon, he'll have to undergo amputation. The woman's voice came again from the speaker. You never act without profit. Since when do you care about other people's troubles? Get out of here. I want to sleep. Let your customer amputate his arm. I have no time to treat him. With that, Millie Elvia prepared to cut the communication and return to her rest. But right before her finger touched the screen, her gaze drifted toward the off-road vehicle behind Wang Laosan. Orange streetlights outlined the youth's side profile, a straight, prominent nose and sharply defined jawline. She could not make out his full features from the distance, yet his bone structure alone easily earned a rating above 9 points. Millie Elvia cleared her throat, dropping her irritable tone instantly. I'm in a decent mood today, so I suppose I can offer treatment. The gate is unlocked. Send the young man inside. The outer courtyard gate slid open automatically. Chen Fan, who had just climbed out of the vehicle, froze for a moment. She had refused outright only seconds earlier. What had changed her mind? Truly an eccentric personality, he thought to himself. What are you standing there for? Hurry inside. Every minute counts for your injury. I'll wait for you in the car. Wang Laosan's reminder pulled Chen Fan back to reality. He nodded in thanks and hurried toward the villa. When he reached the front door, it stood slightly ajar. Chen Fan pushed it open and stared blankly for several seconds at the sight that greeted him. Was this even still Nanxing? Where exactly had he been brought? Follow me to the healing chamber, so I can examine your injury. Millie Elvia's gentle voice drifted over. Chen Fan looked up and saw an exquisitely beautiful oval face with a straight, refined nose. Her striking sapphire blue eyes looked as if they held endless oceans and clear skies within them. Her pale blonde hair cascaded in soft waves. She wore a black lace nightgown that accentuated her graceful figure. Most astonishing of all, she stood 2.3 meters tall. At 1.85 meters, Chen Fan looked like a child standing beside her. Oh, okay. Chen Fan recovered and followed Millie down the hallway toward the healing room on the ground floor. Click. They reached a spacious room at the end of the corridor. Millie Elvia pushed open the door and flipped on the lights. She gestured toward the central bed covered with white sheets. Take off your top and lie down. I need to examine your injuries. Without hesitation, Chen Fan removed his shirt and settled onto the bed. Millie Elvia tied her pale blonde waves into a high ponytail, slipped on sterilized white gloves and a long outer coat, and stepped toward him. She carefully unwound the bandages wrapped around Chen Fan's left arm. His entire left limb had turned pitch black, devoid of all sensation. The wound appears to be from a viper bite. Too much time has passed, and the toxin has spread extensively. Do you remember the rank or appearance of the snake that bit you? I should warn you. Although I can heal your wounds, I need to prepare serum tailored to the specific viper to fully cure you. Chen Fan reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. I took a photo of the snake. He had been prudent enough to snap the picture after killing the viper, and now it proved useful. That viper was at least level 20. Millie identified the serpent in the photograph at a single glance. How did you survive an attack from a level 20 shadow viper long enough to make it here? She used her detection skill to check Chen Fan's level, and the results stunned her. You are only level 5. How did you escape a shadow viper alive? That's extraordinary. While she worked as a support, type transcendent, she knew full well how powerful spirit beasts were. A bite from a level 20 shadow viper dealt nearly 200,000 damage through direct strikes and continuous poison damage. How could a level 5 transcendent withstand 200,000 damage? Not even 6 mythic rarity pieces of equipment could achieve that. I have an unusually high HP pool. A strained smile tugged at Chen Fan's pale lips. 7,200,000 hit points. He certainly had plenty. Miss, can you start treatment soon? I feel like my condition is worsening. The word miss softened Millie's stern expression, and her lips curved into a smile. Very well. Light of the holy radiance, heed my call. Millie Elvia clasped her hands and chanted. Brilliant holy white light erupted instantly. As the light washed over Chen Fan's arm, a sizzling sound echoed, like meat cooking over flame. Sharp pain surged through him, and feeling returned to his left arm. The blackened skin faded back to its natural hue before his eyes. Chen Fan brightened with relief. He would not lose his arm after all. Curious about the mature woman's transcendent talent, he activated his panel to scan her status. Class S. Tier Holy Light Priest. Talents: Holy Light Healing, Blessing of Glory, Holy Light Barrier. Level: 43. Strength: 575. Agility: 3025. Physique: 67400. Spirit: 103000. Millie wore no equipment, so the numbers displayed represented her base stats with no external bonuses. Good heavens, this woman was a level 43 first advancement transcendent with an S tier talent. Chen Fan was shocked. He never imagined Wang Laosan could lead him to an S tier healer. After a minute, the dazzling radiance faded. Chen Fan's arm had fully recovered, leaving only 2 clear Fong marks on his forearm. We're done for now. I'll administer the serum shortly, and you'll be fully recovered by tomorrow morning. All right. Millie turned to rummage through the medicine cabinet, mixing various medicinal ingredients as she spoke. What's your name? How old are you? Where do you live? The question sounded like casual small talk, and Chen Fan did not grow suspicious. Chen Fan. I'm 18, a local from Nanjing. 18. You just completed the Transcendent Ritual this year, didn't you? To survive 200,000 damage at level 5, your talent must be extraordinary. I've never heard of a prodigy named Chen Fan in Nanjing. Millie spoke playfully. You wouldn't be using a fake name to deceive me, would you? I saved half your life. Can't you offer me a little basic trust? It's not a lie. Chen Fan shook his head quickly. My real name is Chen Fan. I was a student at Nanjing No. 1 High School until recently. He did not guard himself heavily around Millie. In a few days, after dealing with Chen Yud, he planned to reveal his identity as a bearer of a god-tier talent. Besides, she was only a support healer with no offensive capabilities. He faced no threat from her. Millie smiled softly, tearing open a syringe and drawing the blended serum into the needle. Very well, I'll choose to believe you. Turn over onto your stomach. I need to give you the injection. Chen Fan rolled onto his front. Millie walked to the bedside with the syringe in hand. She gave his shoulder a light tap to get his attention. Millie smiled to herself. Nice build. Chen Fan blinked in confusion. Is tapping my shoulder part of the injection procedure? Millie dabbed iodine with a cotton swab as she leaned closer. No, I just wanted to get your attention. While distracting him with conversation, she pushed the needle smoothly into his skin without causing any pain, steadily depressing the plunger to inject the serum. Chen Fan turned his head to one side. Once the serum was fully administered, Millie pulled the needle out cleanly, not a single drop of blood welling from the tiny puncture wound. You can get up now. Move your arm around and check how it feels. Millie tossed the used syringe into the trash bin, removed her gloves, and walked to the sink to wash her hands. Chen Fan rested his cheek against the bed. I'd like to lie here for a little while longer before standing up. By the way, miss, I still don't know your name. He twisted his head to look at Millie, who stood at the sink with her back to him. Her long coat clung gently to her curves as she bent forward to wash her hands. Chen Fan turned his gaze away politely. My name is Millie Elvia. You can just call me Millie. Millie pulled out tissues to dry her hands. 3 minutes later, Chen Fan slipped on his shoes and climbed out of bed. He moved his left arm carefully. It still lacked full strength, but sensation had completely returned. Don't overexert yourself. Rest well tonight, and your arm will function perfectly when you wake tomorrow. Millie sat on an office chair, legs crossed, resting one elbow on the desk and her chin in her palm. Thank you, Millie. Chen Fan retrieved a level 25 legendary grade piece of equipment from his inventory, one of the items looted from his earlier fight. On the open market, this single legendary item was worth at least 1 to 2 million. I don't carry cash with me. Can I use this level 25 legendary equipment to cover the treatment fee? If you don't want the gear, I can head back to Wang Laosan's shop to sell it first, and equipment of level 25 held little value for Millie. At level 43, equipping items far below her level would barely boost her stats. Chen Fan intended to convert the equipment into currency to pay her. After all, she had gotten out of bed in the middle of the night to treat him. It would be rude to offer no compensation. Keep the equipment for yourself or sell it. I have no need for it, and money is of no concern to me. Besides, I think you need the funds far more than I do to buy suitable gear, skill books, and consumables for your level. Millie stood up from her chair. I only treat people when I'm in the mood. Today, seeing you put me in a good mood, so there's no charge. Just then, Chen Fan felt a hand gently tilting his chin upward. Millie studied his features with satisfaction. Messy layered bangs framed his slender face. Sharp brows, clear bright eyes, and a tall nose formed striking, defined features. He carried the bold vitality of youth, and being around him felt entirely pleasant. Her claim of acting only on mood was nothing but an excuse. She simply had a strong appreciation for handsome faces. Chen Fan's eyes met Millie's sapphire, blue gaze. Up close, her exquisite features were even more striking. Apart from her lack of pointed ears, every part of her appearance resembled an elf from Nordic mythology. I can't accept free treatment like this, Chen Fan protested hesitantly. If things can't be clarified, he would end up owing someone a favor. And a favor owed to another person was the hardest debt there was to repay. Millie looked Chen Fan up and down, narrowed her eyes slightly, and smiled. Of course, you can make it up to me in other ways. Chen Fan glanced up at Millie and swallowed hard. Sister Millie, I haven't gotten my driver's license. Driving a large vehicle without plates will get me arrested. Millie's grin widened at his reply, yet she chose not to press the subject. She was never an overly casual person to begin with. She only teased Chen Fan for a little amusement. I'll let the debt stand for now. I haven't decided what I want yet. She turned and walked out of the treatment room. Chen Fan followed her out, shutting the door and switching off the lights. They sat down in the living room. Millie poured Chen Fan a glass of cold boiled water and handed it over. Little brother Chen Fan, I haven't asked what class and talent you awakened after your job advancement. Of course. Millie crossed her legs, her lengthy legs stretching further than the sofa she sat upon. This is your privacy. You don't have to tell me. I only asked casually. Chen Fan saw no reason to hide it. Anyone who knew his name could look up his information at Nanxing No. 1 High School and learn his class and talent. So he answered honestly. F. Rank Vanilla Mage. A level 5 Vanilla Mage could never withstand an attack power of 200,000. Chen Fan's true strength was definitely far greater than what he showed on the surface. I need to ask this boy to come back in a few days for a thorough physical examination, Millie thought to herself. So what happened to you tonight? I offended some people. I was attacked in my sleep at home. Fortunately, I survived. Millie smiled. It must be more than just luck keeping you alive. Sister Millie, I hope you won't speak of our conversation today. I can handle my troubles on my own. Though Chen Fan suspected Millie was not the gossipy type, he still issued the reminder. Very well. If you sustain injuries again, you can come to me. Treatment will be free of charge. I won't walk you out. Remember to lock the main gate when you leave. All right, come back within a week. I'll check your body for residual toxins. Millie did not dig further into Chen Fan's secrets. She stood and headed upstairs after finishing her words. Chen Fan watched her tall figure ascend the stairs. He drained the cold water in one gulp, stood up, and walked out of the villa, locking the front door behind him. On the second-floor balcony, shrouded in darkness, stood a woman in a nightgown. Her sapphire, blue eyes reflected the street lamps outside as she stared at Chen Fan's receding silhouette. She murmured to herself, could he be the one I've been waiting for? How did it go? When Chen Fan stepped outside, Wang Laosan, who had been scrolling videos in the car, immediately put away his phone, opened the door, and hurried over to question him. I've been treated. She refused payment. That's great. Anyone I introduce is reliable. Get in. We're heading back to the black market. Chen Fan climbed into Wang Laosan's car. This time, the vehicle drove at a normal speed instead of racing. Back at the shop, Chen Fan walked into the private compartment, with Wang Laosan close on his heels. Young friend, you said you brought plenty of valuable goods this time. Hurry and show me. If the items are good, I'll offer you a satisfying price. On the drive over, Chen Fan had briefly mentioned he had acquired many items he planned to trade to Wang Laosan for cash, equipment, or skill books. Chen Fan retrieved equipment and supplies useless to him from his status panel. In mere seconds, more than 30 pieces of equipment and various consumables scattered across the floor. Wow, there really are premium items. 3 golden glimmers among the gear instantly caught Wang Laosan's eye. He quickly knelt down and began inspecting each piece, examining their condition and stat bonuses. After more than 10 minutes of checking, he tallied the total value of all equipment and supplies. Brother Chen Fan, these 2 legendary rank pieces of equipment, level 26 and level 28, have sustained varying degrees of wear, so the price will be adjusted downwards. Wang Laosan turned toward Chen Fan, waiting for his response. While damaged equipment retained its abilities, the wear affected usability and durability. Many would rather keep such gear for personal use than sell it. No need to hold on to them. I won't use these anytime soon. Sell everything. Understood. Wang Laosan pulled out a calculator and tapped rapidly. All equipment and supplies combined come to 4.97 million federal credits. I'll round it up to a flat 5 million. As a seasoned merchant, Wang Laosan never asked where Chen Fan obtained such a stockpile of equipment. If the sources were legitimate, Chen Fan would have sold them through the Awakened Association instead of the black market, where official channels offered higher prices. Besides, Wang Laosan was good at judging people. From their first meeting yesterday, his intuition told him Chen Fan was extraordinary. It was wise to befriend him. If friendship proved impossible, he must never make him an enemy. Boss Wang, hold on to the money for now. I'd like you to purchase skill books on my behalf in the black market. Prioritize advanced skills, lightning, attuned ones if possible. If advanced lightning skills cannot be found, 2 intermediate offensive skills will suffice. Wang Laosan nodded. Intermediate offensive skills are easy to source. The market price caps at several 100,000 each. Advanced skills are another matter. They're highly sought. Starting at 1 million credits minimum. Rest assured, Brother Chen Fan, I'll search thoroughly. I'll have news for you within 1 day. Let's exchange contact information, and I'll notify you once I locate the skill books. All right. Chen Fan took out his phone and swapped contact details with Wang Laosan. Afterward, Wang Laosan retrieved a spatial ring and stored all the equipment inside. Spatial rings were rare rewards from dungeon clears. Drop rates were extremely low, and they contained independent storage dimensions. Boss Wang, does your shop sell sealing or restraining type items? I wish to purchase one. Chen Fan walked out of the room alongside Wang Laosan. What kind of restraining item are you looking for? We have single, use, and reusable variants, priced from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of credits. Chen Fan thought for a moment. Bring them all out so I can review their properties. Wait a moment. I'll fetch them from the warehouse. Okay. 5 minutes later. Here are all the sealing items I have in stock. See which one fits your needs. Wang Laosan carried over a large chest and opened it. A status panel similar to his personal interface popped into view. The chest possessed storage capabilities akin to a spatial ring. Item: Hemp Rope. Effect: consumes 10 mana per second to bind target's target level limit. LV.20. Item: Beast Trap Single. Use: Effect: forcefully drags one person into the trap for a fight to the death. No one may leave until one combatant falls. Target level limit. LV.15. Item: Mental Barrier. Effect: consumes 6,000 mana to deploy a mental barrier. Target level limit. LV.30. Chen Fan picked up each item to read its stats. He found several viable options with decent effects, yet none could hold back a Tier 1 expert above level 30. Even if he bought them, they would be powerless against Chen Yud. Chen Yud was a Tier 1 warrior above level 40. He almost certainly owned equipment or consumables granting immunity to instant death, damage resistance, or health lock effects. If Chen Fan struck without instantly killing Chen Yud and let him escape, countless unnecessary troubles would follow. Boss Wang, these items are decent, but not powerful enough. I need something capable of restraining a Tier 1 expert for a short time. A troubled expression crossed Wang Laosan's face. If you don't carry such an item, I can check other stores. Hold on. Wang Laosan pulled a black, cube-shaped object from his status panel. I do own an item that can restrain Tier 1 Awakened, but it is costly and has notable drawbacks. Faint golden light emanated from the black cube the instant it appeared in his grasp. It was a legendary rank item. This is a single-use legendary sealing item called Prison of Nether Torment. Upon activation, it forms a 300-meter cubic domain. Even the user who activates the item will be forcibly pulled into the pocket dimension. For 10 minutes, no one can enter or escape the prison space. Unless a level 60 Tier 2 expert intervenes personally, the barrier cannot be broken. Chun Fan's eyes lit up after hearing the description. This item is perfect. I'll take it. Wait. Wang Laosan's tone turned serious. Brother Chun Fan, I don't wish to refuse you, but this item carries severe flaws. There is no turning back once activated. Escape is impossible. Still, as a single-use legendary item, it holds more power than that. Let me read its full item description first. Seeing Chun Fan would not back down, Wang Laosan sighed and handed over the Prison of Nether Torment. Read it yourself. Item: Prison of Nether Torment. Effect: generates a cubic domain with a side length of 300 meters. All living beings within range are dragged into the prison pocket dimension. Escape is impossible for 10 minutes. Upon entering the prison, all equipment, items, and abilities are nullified. Note: Tier 2 Awakened can forcibly shatter the barrier. When he saw the line stating all equipment would stop functioning, Chun Fan wanted the item even more. Without equipment bonuses, killing Chen Yud would be as simple as chopping vegetables. Awakened with A grade talent gained 100 base stat points per level. After Tier 1 advancement, at level 30, all base stats increased tenfold. Even if Chun Yud gained extra stats by clearing dungeons or consuming special consumables, he could only gain a few thousand additional points at most. Stats could not all be poured into a single attribute. Warriors typically allocated points to physique and strength. Without equipment buffs, Chun Yud's base physique would sit at roughly 20,000. Boss Wang, I'm buying this item. Name your price. Once he fully understood its capabilities, Chun Fan made his decision without hesitation. Wang Laosan looked uneasy but stated the price for the legendary item. I purchased it for 1 million federal credits, though I later realized I was overcharged. Since you want it, Brother Chun Fan, I'll sell it to you at my original cost. I won't profit off you. Deal. Deduct the cost directly from my 5 million credit balance. If the remaining funds aren't enough for an advanced lightning skill book, I'll cover the difference. Chun Fan stored the Prison of Nether Torment inside his status panel. Wang Laosan stopped trying to dissuade him. Very well. I'll start searching tomorrow. Also, Brother Chun Fan, this might aid you. I won't pry into your troubles. I hope it serves you well. Wang Laosan retrieved a white mask from his status panel and pressed it into Chun Fan's arms. What's this? As Chun Fan caught the mask, a notification instantly popped up before his eyes. Item: Shapeshift Mask. Effect: allows unrestricted reshaping and alteration of facial features. Thank you. Chun Fan skipped formalities and stored the Shapeshift Mask in his status panel. 3 o'clock in the early morning, inside a vast, pitch-black room. Ring, ring, ring. A shrill phone alarm jolted Chen Yud awake from his sleep. He opened his eyes and reached for the cell phone resting on the nightstand. The ringing disturbed the elegant woman lying beside him. Chen Yud had waited anxiously for mission updates tonight, so he had not silenced his phone before bed to ensure he received reports immediately. Chen Yud glanced at the time and the caller ID, a premonition of misfortune rising in his heart. He switched on the bedside lamp and spoke gently to his wife. Nothing to worry about. Go back to sleep. I need to take this call in the study. He pressed a light kiss to her forehead, grabbed his phone, and strode into the neighboring study. Bang! After shutting the door, Chen Yud answered the call. How did the mission go? Something went wrong. Chen Yud's expression darkened the moment he heard the reply. He walked over to his desk, pulled a cigar from the drawer, trimmed it, lit it with a lighter, and inhaled deeply. Chun Fan is still alive? Give me a brief account of what transpired. Chen Yud's voice remained calm, betraying no emotion. Let me explain. I dispatched 5 awakened above level 20 to ambush Chun Fan at his home, hoping to strike when he was unprepared. The strongest among them neared level 30. I believed the plan could not possibly fail. Half an hour ago, I lost all contact with the squad. I rushed over to the scene immediately, and then... The voice on the phone hesitated. Chen Yud snapped impatiently. Stop stalling and tell me what happened. I found extensive signs of combat at Chun Fan's residence, alongside 5 skeletons. There was no trace of Chun Fan himself. The boy likely survived. Shortly after I arrived, enforcers from the security division showed up downstairs, so I left the premises quickly without investigating further. Are all of you incompetent fools? You cannot complete such a simple task. I wasted so much time and money hiring you. Killing a level 1 nobody proved this difficult. Chen Yud roared, crushing his lit cigar in anger. Mr. Chun, it is not that simple. The squad I sent possessed formidable overall combat power. They could stand their ground even against a Tier 1 expert with A-grade talent. They would have even had a chance to escape against an S-grade Tier 1 awakened. I suspect a powerful protector stands behind Chen Fan. Traces at the scene indicate the attacker was a high-level fire mage. There were only scorch marks from flame magic, almost no signs of prolonged battle. It means the 5 men did not even get the chance to attack before being instantly eliminated. After hearing the explanation, Chen Yu dismissed the idea outright. Impossible. I know Chen Fan's background thoroughly. He has no powerful backers protecting him. I will pay an additional 500,000 credits. Find Chen Fan and kill him. I will add another 1,000,000 upon completion. Understood. Bang. After ending the call, Chen Yud slammed the phone face down onto his desk, irritably pulling out another cigar. He never expected so many twists to unfold in less than 3 days. Could there truly be a powerful figure shielding Chen Fan? The thought crossed his mind for only a second before he rejected it. If Chen Fan had influential connections, he would never have awakened such a worthless talent. All known information on Chen Fan confirmed his family background and talent were utterly ordinary. Chen Yud exhaled white smoke and rubbed his right eye, which twitched uncomfortably. 9 o'clock the next morning. Chen Fan woke up inside a simply furnished room. After leaving Wang Laosan's shop, he had nowhere safe to go. His home was sealed off and unusable, so he booked an anonymous room at a hostel near the black market for the night. He could no longer use his true identity freely. At this moment, the shapeshift mask Wang Laosan gave him became invaluable. Grinding dungeons out in the wild today would be inefficient. I should head to the Nanxing Awakened Association to take on public dungeons. For senior high school students who had just advanced their class this year, there were 3 ways to clear dungeons within Nanxing. The first was wild outdoor dungeons. The second were academy, exclusive instances. The third were the public dungeons managed by the Awakened Association. Chen Fan changed into clean clothes and put on the shapeshift mask. The white mask clung fluidly to his face, reshaping his facial features bit by bit. 10 seconds later, his appearance was completely altered. He summoned his status panel with a thought. Class. Mage. Talent. None. Level. 57%. Free attribute points. 25237. Strength. 10107. Agility. 2003. Physique. 9006. 4 plus 1000. Spirit. 39359 plus 500. Skills. Fireball LV.10 max. Blazing Inferno LV.30 max. Windride LV.30 max. Allocate points into physique and spirit. More than 25,000 free attribute points vanished instantly, distributed into his base stats. Physique plus 9,936, spirit plus 15,301. After allocation, his base physique broke 100,000, and spirit surpassed 50 for 1,000. Including equipment bonuses, his total health now exceeded 8 million. Time to head out to clear dungeons. He paid his lodging fee and checked out, grabbing a simple breakfast afterward. Chen Fan hailed a taxi toward the Nanxing Awakened Association. Level 15 Underground Labyrinth Dungeon. 4. Man Group, missing 1 tank, who can take hits and dodge. Level 10 Dusk Forest Hard Mode, seeking a powerful fire mage damage dealer. Level 20 Sorrow of the Elves Hard Mode, need a healer with strong recovery. I'm the main damage dealer and will carry the run. Paid dungeon carries for anyone under level 20. Line up if you want to level fast. I hold a perfect clear record. Chen Fan pushed open the doors of the Nanxing Awakened Association and stepped into the dungeon teleport hall. The hall was packed with people, and shouts forming parties echoed everywhere. He scanned the crowd, his gaze landing on the team advertising for a fire mage. 2 men and 2 women. They clearly needed strong fire damage for their party dungeon run. Solo dungeons have already had perfect clear records claimed by geniuses from within and outside the city. Even if I beat the existing record to earn a perfect clear, the rewards will not be generous. I'm going to try out a few raid instances today and see how it goes. Chen Fan walked toward the 4 players and stopped once he reached them. I'm a pyromancer. At those words, the blonde-haired youth in the party turned to face Chen Fan. He cast Identify and saw the mage's level, then snapped irritably. We're not recruiting. Beat it. You're only level 5. What are you doing trying a level 10 hard raid? Bang. A straight punch was the blonde's reply. All right, I'm the party leader now. Go recruit 1 more person, then head straight into the dungeon. The remaining 3 members stared in shock at the unconscious blonde sprawled on the ground before turning their gazes to Chen Fan. The blonde was an S-rank Holy Paladin at level 9, the party's main damage dealer and frontline tank for this raid. Yet this all-round powerhouse had been knocked out with a single punch. None of the 3 even caught how Chen Fan moved. The blonde had been down instantly. After 3 stunned seconds, they quickly severed their party link with the blonde and joined Chen Fan's group instead. This man was undoubtedly a powerhouse, far more reliable than the blonde. We'll go recruit our teammate right away. Please wait a moment, boss. A pure-looking girl with her hair tied in a bun grabbed her friend's wrist and hurried into the bustling crowd. The other young man glanced at the 2 girls rushing off, then looked back at Chen Fan and forced a nervous smile. I'll help find someone too. Fine. 3 minutes later, the 3 returned with a full battle warrior. Chen Fan checked the man's stats through his interface. His total HP wasn't even a fraction of Chen Fan's. It didn't matter, though. Chen Fan could clear the dungeon by himself. He'd only brought these 4 along because of raid instance restrictions. Solo entry was impossible. Boss, we've got him. He's an A-rank ironclad warrior, level 7. Having him as our tank should be plenty. Good. Let's enter the dungeon now. Boss, we still don't know your name. The girl with the bun stepped closer to Chen Fan. I'm Gu Qingqing, an S-rank ballad singer, level 9. She pulled over another girl with equally striking features and long, straight legs. This is my best friend Su Ning. She's a summoner with a contract on a massive flying spirit beast. Call me Wu Yinzu. With that line, Chen Fan led the 4 into the teleport channel. Do you wish to enter Gloomy Forest? Dungeon, Gloomy Forest level, 10 difficulty, Nightmare. Only the party leader could set raid difficulty, and party members could not view the setting before entering. The moment the 5 stepped inside the dungeon, a system notification popped up before them. Seeing the difficulty marked Nightmare, Gu Qingqing nearly cried out in shock. Leader, why did you select Nightmare difficulty directly? The rest of us can't deal meaningful damage at all. Even ordinary mobs here have over 10,000 HP, and elites have 100,000. We won't stand a chance. You don't need to fight. I'll solo everything. Chen Fan offered no extra explanation. He was here to break records and claim rewards. He needed to finish as fast as possible. Thick monster HP pools? Irrelevant. Let their stats contend with his damage values. Solo. Gu Qingqing was still processing the words when a gentle wind lifted her body. Before she could react, she was soaring 100 meters into the air. Boss, what are you doing? When Gu Qingqing turned around, she saw the other 3 teammates floating upward as well. Holding the thorn staff, Chen Fan aimed below and unleashed a skill. Sea of Blazing Flames -671,953 -671,845 -671,866. The mobs had barely spawned for 2 seconds before a 500-meter stretch of flame swallowed them whole. The instant the monsters touched the fire, they dissolved into experience points, leaving only striking damage numbers. The tank and assassin hovering mid-air stared at the countless damage values, frozen speechless. How could a level 5 mage deal over 600,000 damage with a single area of effect skill? Su Ning knitted her brows, unable to comprehend the scene. She had expected grueling, endless battles inside this dungeon. But before she could finish drawing her summoning formation, she was lifted into the sky, forced to watch flames scour the ground beneath. Gu Qingqing was outgoing and naturally talkative, never one to feel awkward around strangers. Wow, boss, you're incredible. You wiped out the first wave of monsters with just 1 skill. You're unbelievably strong. Let us cling to your coattails. Chen Fan guided the 4 forward with wind elemental power. A faint smile tugged at his lips at her praise. Bringing this girl along wasn't such a bad idea. At the very least, she kept his spirits high. The next 2 mob waves and 1 elite pack were erased by a single skill each. Even the tank elites could not survive 1 cast of Sea of Blazing Flames. Have we already reached the boss? How much time has passed? Gu Qingqing checked her watch. Less than a minute had gone by, most of it spent traveling. We're clearing every enemy instantly. Of course we're fast. The 2 young men following behind stayed quiet. This effortless victory guaranteed a perfect first clear, promising generous experience and loot. A perfect first clear on a nightmare raid always dropped legendary tier equipment, and with a tiny stroke of luck, mythic gear could appear. Once all trash mobs were eliminated, the 5 arrived at the dungeon's core. Upon entering this zone, their flight altitude was forcibly lowered to 10 meters, level with the dungeon boss, the Dark Treant. Boss Wu, This Dark Tran has over 1,000 attack power and 1,000,000 HP. When it's defeated for the first time, it splits into two smaller Trans. The smaller Trans inherit 80% of the original stats, and we only have 10 minutes to slay both splits. Gu Qingqing had studied dungeon guides beforehand. She never imagined they would attempt nightmare difficulty, but she'd memorized the strategy anyway. Only one party had ever cleared the nightmare version of Gloomy Forest, 8 years prior, an SS. Rank Thunder Mage leading a full level 10 team. Their clear time was 29 minutes and 45 seconds, with an overall rating of 73. Chen Fan simply replied, "Understood." Sea of Blazing Flames. The skill activated, and flames surged to engulf the Dark Trant. Within 2 seconds, the Trent's body shuddered violently, shrinking and splitting apart. 2.5-meter tall Trance emerged in its place. -671,222 -671,342. As long as Chen Fan sustained his mental energy channel, Sea of Blazing Flames would burn continuously for 30 seconds. Under such overwhelming sustained damage, the split Trants were quickly consumed by fire. After the boss fell, the dungeon settlement interface materialized before Chen Fan. Dungeon cleared, Gloomy Forest level, 10 difficulty, Nightmare, clear time. 1 minute 24 seconds overall rating, 100. Settlement rewards. Verdant Ring Legendary, Ebony Staff Epic, Summon Wooden Construct Epic Item, Primary Skill Book, Growth Art, plus 150% experience bonus teleportation out will initiate automatically in 10 seconds. A legendary item actually dropped. Chen Fan hadn't researched loot mechanics. He only knew perfect dungeon clears granted better rewards. He hadn't expected a level 10 dungeon to drop legendary equipment. While neither a weapon nor armor, it filled the empty ring slot. Equipment, Verdant Ring level, 10 tier, legendary equipment effects, critical rate plus 10%, spell damage plus 400%, spirit plus 1,500, agility plus 750 innate talent, spatial storage grants an independent 10 cubic meter storage dimension. Teleported back to the Transcender Guild Hall, Chen Fan opened his status panel to inspect the equipment stats. After reading the 4 powerful modifiers, he immediately equipped the Verdant Ring. All 4 attributes were ideal, and the built-in storage space made it valuable. The Ebony Staff offered stats comparable to his current Thorn Staff, so he chose not to equip it. It would sell for a decent price. Hee, I got a legendary staff plus forging materials. Ning, what loot did you get? Su Ning pulled out a pair of dark boots. Legendary long boots. The other 2 young men also received legendary equipment, crafting materials, and massive experience gains. Running this dungeon once granted more rewards than a dozen regular raids. Traveling with a top-tier powerhouse meant zero fighting, just reaping rewards effortlessly. The moment the 5 teleported out, the clear record for the dungeon updated. The change immediately drew the attention of numerous transcenders leveling nearby. More than half were senior high school students who had awakened their classes that year. Hey look, someone cleared Nightmare, Gloomy Forest. No party name showing. Wait, what's this? 1 minute and 24 seconds. The second place full level 10 team needed nearly half an hour to finish. How did this unknown group blast through it in barely a minute? I recognize one of the girls. She asked me to join her party earlier. This was a makeshift random group. 1 minute 24 seconds isn't even enough to run across the dungeon. Could there be a glitch letting them get lucky? The crowd swarmed the Gloomy Forest dungeon portal, eager to see who had conquered this infamous beginner nightmare. Meanwhile, the blonde youth in holy paladin armor pushed through the throng. He believed he had only lost earlier because he'd neglected to put on his gear. Now he intended to seek revenge on the man who had ambushed him. Gu Qingqing, stop right there. He spotted his former teammates walking alongside the pyromancer, and anger flushed his face. The 5 had just pushed through the crowd when the blonde blocked their path. Wang Teng, what do you want? Wang Teng swept his gaze over Chen Fan and hesitated to attack. Upon closer observation, the man's bearing radiated overwhelming power. Gu Qingqing, why did you leave my party? Is it all because of him? I can carry you through dungeons too. Just cut ties with him. Gu Qingqing pouted and replied dismissively. We choose who we party with. We don't have to follow your demands. You. Wang Teng tried to argue further, but before he could finish speaking, a blurred figure darted toward his face. Slap. The blonde youth spun in place several times from the force of the blow before collapsing unconscious. Enough. Don't waste time on him. Chen Fan stepped over Wang Teng without looking back, then turned to Gu Qingqing. You studied dungeon guides earlier. Do you know any other level 10 Nightmare Raid instances that haven't earned a perfect clear? Gu Qingqing barely glanced at the fallen Wang Tong, feeling no sympathy. He had spoken rudely to their powerhouse ally and deserved what he got. She hurried to Chen Fan's side once she heard his question. There are several. All of them are nightmare raids, just like Gloomy Forest. A handful have been cleared, but none have achieved a perfect run. Give me a quick overview of each dungeon. We'll go break the records and claim the rewards right after. Got it. Gu Qingqing clenched her fists excitedly. Today promised massive level gains and plenty of legendary equipment. There's the Azure Realm, a water-type dungeon, and Lava Domain, a fire-type dungeon. The monsters and elites inside Lava Domain share a trait: high fire resistance, reducing incoming fire damage by 50%. The boss has 3 powerful passives: super armor, damage immunity, and a last stand shield. It doesn't matter. Let's head in. I can handle all the damage. Chen Fan paid no mind to damage resistance mechanics. Equipping the Verdant Ring had already boosted his spell power. The 5 arrived at another dungeon portal. The dungeon prompt appeared before Chen Fan's eyes. Do you wish to enter Lava Domain? Dungeon. Lava Domain level 10 difficulty. Nightmare teleportation into the dungeon initiates automatically in 10 seconds. Upon entering, waves of scorching heat washed over them, making sweat bead on their skin. Breathing in the dense fire elemental energy made every pore on Chen Fan's body relax comfortably. The other 4, however, lacked fire affinity. The dungeon felt like being trapped inside a steaming cauldron, leaving them miserable. Gu Qingqing suddenly pulled out a flute and began to play. Visible musical notes drifted over the party. Their discomfort vanished instantly, replaced by a protective barrier and a shield equal to 50% max HP. Chen Fan raised an eyebrow as he sensed the change. That's your innate talent, isn't it? It is. Gu Qingqing smiled brightly. Quite interesting. Chen Fan prepared to cast Gale Surge to carry the group and sweep the dungeon. Boss, hold on. You don't need to spend mana flying us with Gale Surge. Gu Qingqing interrupted his spell. We can have Ningning summon her spirit beast. Her golden, winged eagle is fast and enormous. It can carry all 5 of us without trouble. Chen Fan paused for a moment. That works. Casting Gale Surge barely drained his massive mana pool, but he welcomed the chance to avoid constant spell maintenance. Ningning, summon your golden, winged eagle quickly. All right. Su Ning nodded and formed a summoning array. 3 seconds later, a beast 5 meters tall, 3 meters wide, with a wingspan exceeding 10 meters materialized before them. Let's go. Time to clear the dungeon. The 5 boarded the golden, winged eagle and flew low. Whenever monster packs spawned, Chen Fan unleashed sea of blazing flames. Though dungeon monsters possessed fire resistance, his raw damage was far too overwhelming. Even with damage halved, they endured hundreds of thousands of damage per second. Within half a minute, all frontline mobs and elites were eliminated, and the boss appeared. Gu Qingqing had planned to recite the dungeon strategy, but her words shifted straight into enthusiastic praise. Traveling behind a powerhouse meant no fighting. All she needed to do was cheer him on. The moment the boss appeared, Chen Fan unleashed sea of blazing flames and fireballs simultaneously. In under 3 seconds, the million HP boss collapsed, and the dungeon settlement screen opened. Dungeon cleared. Lava Domain level 10 difficulty. Nightmare. Clear time 1 minute 47 seconds. Overall rating 100. Settlement rewards: Crimson Belt Legendary, Lava Heart Epic, Intermediate Skill, Meteor Fall, times 30 crafting materials, plus 100% experience bonus. Teleportation out will initiate automatically in 10 seconds. PS. 1 spirit converts to 2 mana. Mana governs both attack power and the mana resource bar. Have we found out where that anonymous party who cleared Gloomy Forest came from? Inside the top floor office of the Southern City Transcender Guild, a middle-aged man in a tailored black suit slicked back his hair and gripped a tablet tightly, questioning the staff beside him. Guild leader, we have no identity records for the party leader. However, we identified the 2 girls in the group. They are students from Southern City No. 3 High School. Surveillance footage confirms they formed a random party and didn't know each other beforehand. He handed over the profiles of the other 4 members. All of them are senior high school students who awakened their classes this year. Li Hongwei scanned the documents briefly via tablet and drew a conclusion. Support, Summoner, Rogue, and Pure Tank Warrior. A lineup like this cannot clear a level 10 Nightmare raid, which means that single young man handled the entire dungeon alone. Bring him to me at once, and be extremely courteous. Li Hongwei realized the gravity of the situation. Anyone capable of soloing raids likely possessed at minimum an SSS rank talent. Guild leader, they just entered another level 10 nightmare dungeon. They won't emerge anytime soon. Li Hongwei stood and adjusted his suit and tie. Very well. I will go greet them personally. Back in the Transcender Guild Hall, the Lava Domain dungeon portal flickered. 5 figures teleported out. Let's move on to the next dungeon. Gu Qingqing hurried forward to lead the way. The Azure Realm is just ahead. Less than 5 minutes had passed since they cleared 2 Nightmare level 10 dungeons, and all 4 teammates had earned substantial rewards. There was no time to sort through loot yet. They had more raids to conquer. The activity around the Lava Domain portal instantly captured the attention of everyone in the hall. The crowd that had gathered outside Gloomy Forest rushed over immediately. It's that anonymous party again. Unbelievable. Another dungeon record broken. Another perfect clear. Could there be an SSS rank Transcender in their group? Clearing dungeons looks effortless for them. I recognize one of the girls. She's from our number 3 high school. Should we ask if they're open to adding more members? I want to get carried through a dungeon too. As he walked, Chen Fan opened his status panel to examine the newly acquired skill book. Spend 1,500 free attribute points to learn and max the intermediate skill Meteor Fall. Learn it. 1,500 free attribute points consumed. Successfully learned and maxed intermediate skill, Meteor Fall. Meteor Fall damage increased by 350%. Summons blazing meteorites upon casting, striking a 1-kilometer radius area. Cooldown, 10 seconds. Not bad. Another area of effect fire skill. Now let's check the new legendary belt. Equipment, Crimson Belt level, 10 tier. Legendary equipment effects. Max HP plus 500%. Physique plus 1800. Negative status duration minus 10%. Physique plus 15%. 2 modifiers boosting physique. This belt is excellent. After reviewing the stats, Chun Fan equipped the Crimson Belt without hesitation. I only need a pair of boots to complete the 6-piece set. After equipping the Blazing Flame Belt, Chun Fan's physical attribute bonus rose to 17,800. His base HP surpassed 1.1 million, and with bonuses from equipment, his total HP broke through 15 million. Even an SSS class First Evolution Transmuter would struggle to kill Chun Fan instantly in a short span of time. The dungeon entrance is right ahead. Gu Qingqing asked gently, "Shall we rest for a while before heading in?" Chun Fan closed his status panel and looked at her in confusion. "Are you tired?" Gu Qingqing quickly waved her hands. They had tagged along through 2 dungeons without lifting a finger, so exhaustion was out of the question. "We'll enter straight away. I'm leaving once we clear this one." Chun Fan held no interest in the remaining solo, team, or large-scale group dungeons. Dungeons below level 10 offered little worth farming. Worthwhile loot could only be found in level 10 dungeons. Moreover, level was not his top priority. He only needed to reach level 10 to meet the university admission threshold. That would let him enter top Transmuter academies through the national examination. Would you like to enter Realm of Azure Waves? Dungeon, Realm of Azure Waves, level 10, difficulty, Nightmare. Light enveloped the 5 of them, and they were teleported into the dungeon the next instant. Are they made of iron? They cleared 2 Nightmare dungeons back without any rest. Does anyone know the name of the young man leading the party? I want him to carry me through a couple dungeons too. Is no one curious how they managed to speedrun 2 Nightmare dungeons consecutively? Word has it the party only has 2 A-class talents and 2 S-class talents. What's more, the 2 S-class users are a healer and a summoner. They lack early damage output. That means the young man at the front might have cleared the dungeons alone. No way. I heard he's only level 5. How could someone of that level solo a Nightmare dungeon? Could it be that he bears an SSS class talent, or something even higher? News of Chun Fan's party consecutively speedrunning 2 level 10 Nightmare dungeons quickly spread across the entire Transmuter Guild Hall. Most Transmuters in the building halted their plans to venture into dungeons and lingered in the hall, eager to see what was happening. Where is he? Take me to him at once. A middle-aged man in a black suit with slicked back hair rushed excitedly out of the elevator and into the lobby on the ground floor. As he stepped out, a young woman in an OL skirt with a high ponytail hurried toward him. "President, the person you're searching for just entered another dungeon." Li Hongwen slapped his forehead anxiously. "Why didn't you stop them? They've already finished 2 dungeons and charged straight into a third without a single break. What if something goes wrong for them inside the dungeon?" The woman in office attire wore a professional, faint smile. "President, we tried to intercept them, but they moved far too quickly. Before I could catch up, they stepped through the dungeon portal. Li Hongwen exhaled and waved his hand. Never mind. Attend to your other duties. I'll wait for them outside the dungeon teleportation gate. Understood. Onlookers soon spotted Li Hongwen and began whispering among themselves. Hey, isn't that Li Hongwen, president of the Southern City Transmuta Guild? What's he doing down in the lobby? Didn't you hear what he was saying? He's looking for someone. It's obvious who he's after. That party that blazed through 2 level 10 nightmare dungeons and queued up for a third in less than 10 minutes. I'd probably still be fighting the first wave of monsters if I attempted one. Objectives: 1. Slay 2,500 aquatic creatures 0/2500. 2. Locate the azure heart lost on the seabed. 3. Defeat the final boss Heim. After teleporting into the realm of azure waves, the mission prompt appeared before everyone's eyes. Senior, only one party has ever cleared the nightmare difficulty of Realm of Azure Waves. Even they failed to find the Azure Heart, so they couldn't achieve a perfect clear. Gu Qingqing briefly explained the dungeon conditions based on existing strategies. 90% of this dungeon consists of open ocean. Qin Fan's fire base skills would be heavily suppressed. On top of fighting monsters, they also needed to search for the Azure Heart. That was the biggest hassle. Boundless ocean stretched in every direction. How were they supposed to find the Azure Heart? Gu Qingqing pouted and complained. If we can't find it, we'll wipe out the whole map. Qin Fan gazed at his fully upgraded skill, Meteorite Onslaught, and spoke calmly. Wipe out the whole map. Gu Qingqing blinked in confusion. Su Ning looked equally confused, though she was reserved and spoke little. The assassin and tank bringing up the rear remained quiet the entire time. They knew they were only invited to fill out the party roster. Qin Fan broke into a grin. Like this. Meteorite Onslaught, he raised his staff and unleashed his newly maxed fire spell. Casting the skill instantly drained 1/10 of his mana. Dark storm clouds rolled across a kilometer-wide radius. Shooting stars streaked down from the heavens, plummeting rapidly toward the sea surface. Are those shooting stars? Gu Qingqing turned to the girl beside her and asked. Su Ning's mouth fell open, stunned. That looks like a skill. Boom, boom. A flaming meteor nearly 100 meters wide dove from high altitude, accompanied by a shrill sonic boom. Crimson fire traced across the sky, leaving a scarlet trail behind it. The remaining meteors were smaller, yet there were countless of them. Crash! Meteors slammed into the ocean, sending walls of water dozens of meters high surging upward. Aquatic monsters and seawater instantly vaporized, leaving a kilometer-wide empty stretch on the sea. 1,129,045. 1,134,454. 1,112,344. Boom, 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 boom. Hundreds upon hundreds of meteors descended from the firmament, triggering wave after massive tidal surge. Qin Fan casually conjured a wind barrier to block the incoming floodwaters. The 4 other party members stared at the apocalyptic scene before them, too shocked to utter a word. Only now did they understand exactly what Qin Fan meant by wiping the map. He intended to clear every corner, literally. Damage values exceeding 1,000,000. How could someone only at level 7 mage deal that kind of damage? In barely 10 minutes, their understanding of the world had been completely overturned. Objectives: 1. Slay 2,500 aquatic creatures 24,556/2500. The meteor shower lasted more than a full minute. When it faded, a charred, empty zone stretching 3 kilometers remained. Even the seawater rushing back seemed to flow sluggishly. Even though this is merely an intermediate spell, its range and destructive power rival advanced skills. This dungeon run has proven quite rewarding. Qin Fan muttered to himself. Gu Qingqing, do you have any mana restoration skills? Cast one on me. That last spell drained quite a lot of mana. Gu Qingqing quickly lifted her staff and targeted him. Right away, senior. My spell restores 15% mana instantly, plus an additional 10% mana regeneration over 1 minute. Decent ability. As the skill's light washed over him, Qin Fan's mana fully replenished, and he gained a sustained mana regeneration buff. Su Ning, summon your beast mount and take the others into the sky. See if you can spot the Azure Heart from above. Su Ning nodded rapidly. Understood. As Su Ning summoned her golden, winged rock, Qin Fan cast Windwalk and soared 100 meters upward, speeding toward the open sea ahead. The skill's 10-second cooldown had finished. He could unleash another meteor strike. Meteorite Onslaught far off in the distance. The 4 riding the giant bird's back all turned toward the cloud-shrouded stretch of sky on the horizon. Seeing the skill from afar was a vastly different experience than witnessing it up close. Meanwhile, a chilling thought crossed Gu Qingqing's mind. She nudged Su Ning with her elbow and leaned in to whisper. Ning, do you think Senior Bear's a god-class talent? Otherwise, how could he hit for over 1,000,000 damage at this level? Su Ning did not disagree and nodded in agreement. That makes a lot of sense. Let's focus on finding the Azure Heart instead. Let's try to clear this dungeon quickly. Alright. Chen Fan did not linger after casting Meteorite Onslaught this time. He moved straight toward the center of the dungeon as soon as the spell launched. The boss had spawned. At the dungeon's core, a 50-meter tall tidal wave lifted a pale blue, white creature into view. The instant the boss emerged, a meteor over 100 meters wide crashed straight toward it. Invincibility active. Invincibility active. A single meteor forced the boss's invincibility passive to trigger. The seawater wave evaporated from extreme heat, and the boss was hammered down to the seabed. Blazing sea of fire while the meteor shattered, Chen Fan unleashed his second spell in quick succession. Less than 2 seconds after its invincibility faded, the boss was instantly defeated. Objectives 3. Defeat the final boss completed. Now we only need to locate the Azure Heart. Chen Fan glanced at the dungeon objective list and murmured. Once his skill cooldowns reset, he continued his bombardment. Within 2 short minutes, nearly 60% of the realm of Azure Waves was charred black under constant meteor strikes. Chen Fan's mana pool was almost empty. Still no sign of the Azure Heart. Is this artifact even inside this dungeon? Chen Fan pulled several mana restoration potions from his inventory. After drinking them, he only recovered around 2,000 mana. Far too little to cast Meteorite Onslaught even once. He was about to ask Gu Qingqing for mana support when a flash of blue light streaked rapidly toward him from the distance. It traveled hundreds of meters in the blink of an eye. 2 breaths later, a heart-shaped blue gem hovered directly before Chen Fan. Is this the Azure Heart? Successfully cleared dungeon, realm of Azure Waves, level 10. Difficulty, Nightmare. Clear duration, 7 minutes and 35 seconds. Overall rating, 100. Clear rewards. Azure Heart Legendary Item. Deep Sea Armor Epic. X5 Sky Realm Dungeon Entrance Passes. Azure Staff Legendary. Plus 100% experience gain. Automatic teleportation out of dungeon in 10 seconds. After exiting the dungeon, all rewards were deposited directly into his inventory. 2 legendary items and pieces of equipment as rewards. Before Chen Fan could inspect the Azure Heart and Azure Staff, the middle-aged man in the black suit with slicked back hair strode up to him. Hello, young man. I am Li Hongwen, president of the Southern City Transmuter Guild. Chen Fan looked up to see the man extending a hand. He shook it politely. What can I do for you? Would you mind coming upstairs to talk for a moment? Li Hongwen asked. Chen Fan hesitated briefly. Very well. He then turned toward the 4 party members behind him. You may head back now. I won't be running any more dungeons today. Thank you, Senior. ×4. Gu Qingqing's eyes shone with anticipation. Senior, could you take us dungeon hunting again sometime? We'll see. Chen Fan did not commit firmly. Delighted by the reply, Gu Qingqing grabbed her best friend and hopped away. This way, please. Li Hongwen maintained a courteous demeanor. Before Chen Fan and his party emerged, the dungeon leaderboards had already updated. Unsurprisingly, his run marked another perfect nightmare clear. Chen Fan walked side by side with Li Hongwen as they stepped into the staff-only elevator. After they left, conversations continued to buzz throughout the guild hall. 3 level 10 nightmare dungeons cleared in just over 10 minutes. Can that really be true? You must be new here. Check the dungeon records if you don't believe it. Even the president of the Southern City Transmuter Guild came to greet him. Just how powerful is that young man's talent? Most transmuters would struggle to survive a single nightmare dungeon run, let alone pull off repeated perfect speed clears. No ordinary transmuter is capable of this. I'd wager his talent is at minimum S class or higher. When did Southern City produce such an extraordinary genius? He might not even be a local. Perhaps he's a prodigy traveling here to level up and farm dungeons. The elevator ascended in complete silence. Li Hongwen broke the quiet first. May I ask for your name, young man? I am Li Hongwen, president of the Southern City Transmuter Guild. He could tell at a single glance that Chen Fan's features were disguised, yet he chose not to point it out. It made sense for someone to hide their appearance if they wished to remain anonymous. Chen Fan made up a name casually. Wu Yanzu. Mr. Wu. Li Hongwen quickly searched his memory for anyone by that name from Southern City and surrounding regions, yet drew a blank. A genius of this caliber should not remain unknown. Perhaps he was a self-taught rising talent from nowhere. The thought made Li Hongwen's heart race. I need to find out his origins. If I can recruit him into the Transmuter Association, Our nation's strength will grow significantly. Ding. The elevator door slid open. Li Hongwen led Chun Fan into his office, brewed tea, and sat across from him at the tea table. President Li, what did you wish to discuss with me? Chun Fan skipped formalities and cut straight to the point. Haha, have some tea first. You've just cleared 3 nightmare dungeons in a row. You must be exhausted, Mr. Wu. Chun Fan took a small sip of tea. I suppose you underwent your transmutation this year. Which high school do you attend? Li Hongwen asked straightforwardly. I did transmute this year, but I am not enrolled in any high school currently. Not enrolled. Li Hongwen wondered if he had misheard. That is correct. Once he confirmed the answer, shock turned to excitement on Li Hongwen's face. If such an outstanding genius attended no school, he was likely an independent transmuter. If Li Hongwen could convince him to stay in Southern City and compete in this year's national examination, his yearly performance targets would be easily achieved. May I ask what class you chose upon transmutation and your talent grade? Worried about overstepping, he quickly added, feel free to decline if you do not wish to share the details. Fire Mage. Talent grade is irrelevant. If you want to gauge my strength, we can head directly to the training grounds instead of beating around the bush. Wow, this young man is incredibly direct, Li Hongwen thought to himself. Very well, follow me. Li Hongwen burned with curiosity to witness Chun Fan's true power, capable of consecutive nightmare dungeon clears. Even level 20-plus transmuters would not dare guarantee a successful clear. This youth's strength was unquestionably extraordinary. 3 minutes later, they arrived at the training grounds. Li Hongwen instructed staff to prepare a test dummy. Shortly after, a 3-meter-tall mechanical puppet rose in the center of the arena. This puppet has 1 million HP. Feel free to unleash your full power. Understood. Blazing Sea of Fire, 1,104,899. Chun Fan raised his staff and cast his intermediate spell, Blazing Sea of Fire. The moment flames touched the puppet, it was instantly vaporized. Only a damage reading of over 1.1 million remained. What happened? Where did the puppet go? The mechanical puppet did not display visible damage numbers like monsters or transmuters. Li Hongwen assumed there was a malfunction with the equipment. He hurried over to the control station to question the staff member operating the device. President, the puppet's gone. It was eliminated with 1 hit. Sweat beaded on the staff member's forehead as he stared in disbelief at the damage value displayed on the screen. 1 single hit. This puppet holds 1 million HP. How could a level 8 fire mage defeat it instantly? When Li Hongwen stepped up to the console and saw the damage number clearly displayed, his eyes widened in shock. Over 1 million damage. A terrifying possibility raced through Li Hongwen's mind. Could this young man possess a god-class talent? Even after accounting for equipment bonuses and amplifications, his base spirit stat must sit somewhere between 40,000 and 60,000 to produce damage on this scale. As a level 39 ice mage himself, Li Hongwen's spirit stat barely exceeded 30,000. He understood fully just how absurdly high base attributes would need to be to pull off such a feat. Suddenly, Li Hongwen recalled a forum post he'd stumbled upon the previous day. It claimed a god-class talent transmuter had appeared in Southern City. At first, he dismissed it as media hype or attention-seeking rumors spread online. Now, seeing hard evidence with his own eyes, he realized the reports were genuine. A god-class talent transmuter stood right before him. I have to recruit him, no matter what. Contact all the principals and administrators of Southern City's high schools immediately. Inform them the guild has a god-class talent transmuter who is not currently enrolled. Tell them to rush over to recruit him. Why, yes, sir. The staff member remained stunned. He had actually laid eyes on a legendary god-class talent transmuter. It felt utterly surreal, like a dream. We must keep this genius within Southern City. Li Hongwen quickly walked back toward Chun Fan on the training field with a wide smile. Mr. Wu, your talent is astonishing. Even I cannot replicate damage output like that. Let us return to my office to continue our conversation over tea. Have you joined any transmuter guild yet? Chun Fan sat down again. I have no plans to join any guild for the time being. Li Hongwen extended an invitation. It's worth considering. Guild membership grants access to abundant resources and priority dungeon access. It's an excellent path to level faster and collect better equipment. Chun Fan understood everything Li Hongwen described. He did intend to join a guild eventually, but not this small Southern City branch. If he was going to affiliate with an organization, he would aim for top-tier guilds based in the capital, which possessed far richer resources. At Chun Fan's current strength, Southern City had little left to offer him. Presently, there's no need to say more. I'll consider joining the guild after I enter university. Li Hongwei felt a flicker of disappointment, yet he did not show any displeasure. He had only asked tentatively. After all, a small place like Southern City could never contain a god-tier talent transcender. Even if he failed to recruit him, he could accept it. Forging a friendly bond or leaving a good impression would still be worthwhile. Let's continue our tea then. All right. On the surface, Chun Fan sipped his tea. In truth, he used his willpower to open his personal status panel and examine the attributes of his newly acquired gear. Item: Heart of Azure Legendary. Effect: Physical attack plus 300%, magic attack plus 300%. Equipment: Azure Staff. Level: 10. Grade: Legendary. Equipment effects: Magic damage bonus plus 300%, Spirit plus 15%, Water, Type skill damage plus 300%, cooldown reduction, 10%. After reading the stats of the item and equipment, Chun Fan's eyes lit up. Both were top-tier treasures. More importantly, the Heart of Azure was a permanent item that could be worn without occupying an equipment slot. The basketball-sized Heart of Azure shrank into a ring ornament and slipped onto Chun Fan's finger. Once he equipped the Azure Staff, Chun Fan's base spirit attribute surged past 64,000. Li Hongwei told Chun Fan that the principal and vice principals of several Southern City high schools were heading to the guild, hoping to meet him. Chun Fan remained calm. This was all within his expectations. He did not care which high school he ended up attending. What was certain was that it would never be #1 high school. Bang! More than 10 minutes later, the two men quietly drinking tea in the office were startled by a sudden kick against the door. Li Hongwei, where's that promising rookie you mentioned? Let me take a look. The office door was kicked wide open. A towering man 2 meters tall strode inside. He had a burly physique, wearing a black tank top and army green camouflage trousers. Principal Kwong. Li Hongwei hastily stood up to greet the unexpected visitor. He then wore a smile and made the introduction. This is Kwong Zhantian, the newly appointed principal of Southern City #3 High School. He just retired from the front lines of the Demon War and is a level 58 Berserk Blood Warrior. Hearing his occupation, Chun Fan immediately paid close attention. Berserk Blood Warrior was a rare SS-tier talent. Kwong Zhantian barely glanced at Li Hongwei, shoving him aside casually. He sized Chun Fan up with a scrutinizing gaze. This is the god-tier talent transcender you talked about? He looks scrawny. Can he really measure up? Chun Fan, As he looked at Kwong Zhantian, Chun Fan opened his status panel to check the man's 4 core attributes. Occupation: SS, Tier Berserk, Blood Warrior. Talents: Low Health Frenzy, Forced Health Lock, Damage Reflection, Mass Taunt, Limb Regeneration. Level: 58 Restricted. Strength: 118,767. Agility: 4,888. Physique: 103,452. Spirit: 1,304. Seeing that he possessed a full 6 talent abilities, Chun Fan inwardly let out a quiet exclamation of surprise. While Chun Fan observed Kwong Zhantian, the principal was also studying him. Li Hongwei stood aside with a smile, quietly waiting. Principal Kwong, I'm actually a fire mage. It's normal for me not to have a robust physique. I see. Kwong Zhantian looked away and sat down of his own accord. I've watched the recording of your test. Impressive. Come to #3 high school, and I guarantee you a spot at the War God Academy this year. Chun Fan smiled. He found nothing wrong with Kwong Zhantian's brusque demeanor. In fact, the man's bearing felt strangely familiar. When he was young, his parents only came home during the Lunar New Year. Every time they returned, his father would invite several close military comrades over for drinks and conversation. Kwong Zhantian, don't think you can poach this god-tier talent just because you have the War God Academy backing you. I, Sinan, won't allow it. A middle-aged man with graying hair and gold-rimmed glasses stepped elegantly into the office. This was Sinan, principal of Southern City #2 High School, a level 46 Ice Mage. Young man, if you enroll at our #2 High School, the Sky Pivot Academy will offer you a direct admission quota. You can skip this year's college entrance examination and enter the academy directly. Sinan smiled warmly, giving off a sincere impression. The Sky Pivot Academy ranks among Longwa's 4 grand academies, no inferior to the War God Academy. Its headmaster is a third-turned demigod 3 attribute mage who can provide you with excellent guidance for cultivation and growth. Seeing someone trying to steal the student, Kwong Zhantian immediately retorted. Sinan, you old fellow. I was in the middle of talking to him. What are you barging in for? Get lost and bother someone else. Crude. Utterly crude. Sinan's face flushed. Everyone from your War God Academy is nothing but muscle-brain brutes. How could you properly instruct a mage, let alone one with God-tier talent? Studying at your war god academy would only ruin his future. Does your academy even have a third-turn archmage? Mind your own business. The War God Academy has endless dungeon realms and resources, more than anything else. Besides, this boy has God-tier talent. He gains 10,000 free attribute points every time he levels up. If he allocates points to strength and physique, he can become a melee mage. What's wrong with that? Sinan was infuriated by these words, yet he dared not start a fight. He knew he could not defeat Kuang Zhantian. You are leading him down the wrong path. As the two principals argued, the other principals and vice principals from Southern City's high schools arrived one after another. Among them was Chun Yud, principal of Southern City No. 1 High School. Chun Fan was using a disguised appearance, so Chun Yud did not recognize him. Furthermore, Chun Fan had only met the No. 1 high school principal 3 times. The man could not possibly identify him merely from his build. Chun Fan had good reason to hide his identity. He feared Chun Yud would receive advance warning and flee overnight. If the man hid away in some remote mountain valley, Chun Fan would have no way to track him down. For that reason, he could not alert his target prematurely.